following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
When you think of Las Vegas, what comes to mind first? Of course, the casinos, the bright lights, big headliners, big dreams of a big jackpot, and big fun that can last all night if you want to let it. When NASCAR racers and fans think of Las Vegas, they think of big speed at the lightning-fast Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where NASCAR's big stars risk big trouble trying to win a big trophy. Will we see another big finish today? There have been plenty of them here in the past. The NASCAR Nationwide Series, all in for 300 miles in Las Vegas. Coming up next. It is a beautiful day in Las Vegas. Just up from the Strip on North Las Vegas Boulevard, you'll find the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where fans are making their way in from their hotels or their homes under mostly sunny skies. A little chilly, about 60 degrees, going to warm up to about 68 this afternoon. What will they be talking about when they head back out after today's race? We will find that out beginning very shortly. Some headlines for today. Las Vegas native Kyle Busch, after leading all 200 laps of last week's Phoenix race, tries to get what's been an elusive win at his hometown track in this series. In fact, this race has been pretty rough on Kyle over the years. If Kyle does win, it'll bring him within 3 of the all-time series record held by Mark Martin. Mark has won the last 2 times he's entered this race. He's in the field today looking for another victory. And Denny Hamlin making what's been a rare Nationwide Series start for him. Last year he led this race late before losing out to Kevin Harvick. Hamlin says only the win matters today. He certainly will be one to watch in that 20 car. Hamlin and the other drivers making their way out to driver introductions and likely walking right past our ESPN pit studio, where we've got 2 high rollers and a joker inside ready to deal some NASCAR countdown. Alan Bestwick with the high rollers, Dale Jarrett and Big Brad Daugherty. I'm always the one talking about the high rollers and the dealing and all the Vegas analogies. Give me your best Vegas analogy on what we're going to see in this race.
Well, we're going to see a fantastic race, but it's a real gamble each and every lap. These guys are going to have to be pretty much all in committed, especially down into turn 1. They're running wide open around here. A lot of bumps down there. That's going to be the action place today.
I like that. I'm looking for a dark horse, though, a long shot. One of these young guys to come and step up and challenge Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, maybe go toe-to-toe. Maybe someone like Ricky Stenhouse or Reed Sorensen. Even though he's had some Cup experience, he's still a young guy in this series. I want to see those guys go toe-to-toe.
Interesting look to the front of the starting field, qualifying for this race, finishing up about an hour and a half ago. And the front row has a pretty familiar look to it.
Yeah, something that we've been pretty used to seeing here, but Carl Edwards, he committed to this lap, had a great qualifying effort, put it on the pole.
He went all in. And alongside Carl.
Definitely not a long shot. This is Kyle Busch, as we know, dominated last week's race. He will be a contender today. Not won a nationwide race here at Vegas, though, so he is very hungry.
Yeah, I thought he's only a 2-to-1 favorite. That's thinking he's going to win.
Third place starter has been fast all weekend.
Ricky Stenhouse doing a fantastic job. He just continues to show us the talent that he has driving these race cars. He's getting more used to them. He's going to go to victory lane probably before too long.
Stenhouse qualifying 3rd quickest in his Roush Fenway Racing Ford Mustang. A look at the first 5 rows of the grid. Some interesting guys to make note of in there.
I tell you what, some potential winners here. Big guy, I think I like Reed Sorensen there.
Yeah, Reed Sorensen looks good. Look, Elliott Sadler's got a good starting spot. Denny Hamlin, Trevor Bayne, Allgaier, and always Carl and Kyle. Those guys are going to go head-to-head.
Interesting mix at the front of the field for today's race. Now, Kyle and Carl, they ran 1st and 2nd at Phoenix. They've been 2 of the dominant drivers in this series for the last few years. They'll be factors. You see Mark Martin, Denny Hamlin we mentioned. Can anybody else among that group of qualifiers step up and give these guys a run for it today?
Yeah, they really can. I just mentioned I like Reed Sorensen. I like what this Turner Motorsports team has really done to get themselves prepared for this season. And having someone like Reed, he's a nationwide regular here. He has Cup experience, a lot of talent we know. I think that he has that opportunity to beat these guys.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Reed Sorensen's a great pick. This young man is a really good race car driver. He's a tremendous race car driver, and he's looking for an opportunity to continue to show what type of talent he has. And the other guy for me would be Elliott Sadler. I think Elliott can get up there, and once he gets his confidence and gets his mojo on, he can run toe-to-toe with these guys and win races in this division without question.
Been talking about Reed Sorensen. He's been around for a while. So it's kind of hard to think he's just 25 years old, but that is the case for Reed. Ran the Nationwide Series 2 years full-time in 05 and 06. Best championship result of 4th. He's got 3 wins in those couple of years. He's the only driver to have top 5 finishes in both of this year's races. Can he make it 3 straight? Let's hear from Reed. He is with Dr. Jerry Punch right now, Doc.
Yeah, what a great start to the year for Reed Sorensen, and Reed coming here as the points leader, but with the same team in a different race car and a different crew chief. How does that happen?
Well, it's an interesting situation to say the least. Mark Martin came over and he's going to run a few races in the Dollar General car, and we got Rexall on my car this week, so had to switch crew chiefs and different team. But I have worked with Stuart Cooper in the past, and him and I have done really well together before, so it wasn't that hard to adjust to it just because I have worked with him before. And we're going to work hard today and you know, treat it just like any other race.
Hey, how does having a legend like Mark Martin as a teammate here all weekend help you get the car ready, and particularly today?
Well, I'll tell you, I know he's got really good stats here. I know he's won 3 races here, so I picked his brain yesterday pretty good just about certain things about this racetrack, and he's great to have as a teammate and very willing to help. And that's really cool to have somebody like Mark come over and be with us. So I did try to use everything I could and get everything out of him I could. And I think we'll have a good day as an organization, and maybe we'll get that win today.
And you don't mind beating him, of course.
I'd like to beat him. Yeah.
Good luck today. All right, Reed Sorensen will roll off 8th. Alan?
Doc, thanks. We tagged along as Reed and the other Turner Motorsports drivers took a little grand tour this week and told us of their grand plans to become grand champions.
All right, I'm Justin Allgaier.
I'm Jason Leffler.
And I'm Reed Sorensen.
And we all drive for Turner Motorsports. One of the cool things we get to do is when we come to Las Vegas is kind of sightsee a little bit and see what all's going on. And so today we're going to come out and we're going to take a tour of the Grand Canyon.
You know, we learned a lot about the Grand Canyon that we probably didn't know about.
It's pretty cool to see how little we really were in perspective to how big the Grand Canyon really was.
We all get along. We like the same thing, so it's cool. Anytime you hang out with your teammates off the track, it helps your chemistry.
You get to know everybody more as a person other than just, you know, guys you work with.
And 2 of those 3 drivers qualified in the top 10 for today's race. Now, Carl Edwards on the pole in that 60 car. Just a couple of spots behind him, his Roush Fenway teammate Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the number 6 and 3rd on the grid. Then there's Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bayne in 7th on the grid in the 16 car. A pretty good qualifying effort for Roush Fenway, and particularly their youth brigade, if you will. Vince Welch is standing by right now with at least one of the Roush Fenway young guys. Vince?
That's right. Trevor Bayne, of course, made the headlines with the big win at the Daytona 500. A little tougher weekend last week at Phoenix. The Nationwide car ended up on the hook, but yet you managed to still carry a lot of confidence into this weekend. Why?
Well, just because, I mean, we're going to have highs and lows. You know that in racing. You're going to have bad days, you're going to have good days, so you got to build on that momentum from both of them here. I mean, we've got great race cars, and that always helps you stay confident. When you know that you're going to be fast next weekend whenever you show up to the track, Roush Fenway's Nationwide car, Wood Brothers Cup cars, everything, you know, it's just perfect timing for us right now, and everything's good.
You're running both series, the Cup Series and the Nationwide Series. Has it been a distraction? You're just 20 years old, don't have a lot of experience in that regard?
No, I think it's awesome for me getting double track time. I'm getting to learn both of them, and when I come back to Nationwide, it's kind of slow motion getting in these cars again. You know, it is tough at first because I haven't figured out what that switch looks like to go from Cup to Nationwide and back and forth as far as how to drive the cars differently. So it's been a little tough right now, but I think once I figure out the cars, it's going to be a bonus all the way across the board.
Well, Trevor Bayne starting 7th, and real quickly we'll switch to his teammate Ricky Stenhouse. Ricky, a pair of top 10s so far to start the season, a 3rd qualifying spot here this weekend. What's been the key for you guys in the early season success?
Just carrying our momentum from last year, and the guys back at the shop building awesome Mustangs. We got a new sponsor on Easy Feet this weekend, so hopefully we can run up front with them. And you know, we just unloaded here, and all our Ford Mustangs have been fast in the Nationwide Series. The Cup cars are fast with the Ford Fusions over there. So so far it's been a good weekend in Las Vegas for us.
Yeah, a lot of teams around the garage saying keep an eye on this guy, Ricky Stenhouse, today, Alan.
All right, Vince, thanks. We mentioned Carl Edwards on the pole for today's race, right? I guess Carl got a little inspiration for going fast.
Sure.
Because if you could jump off a 108-story building.
Something ain't right.
This is the Stratosphere Tower.
It wasn't on fire, was it?
No.
Why would you jump off there?
Part
goodness.
Part of his promotional trip here a week ago before the Phoenix races to help the racetrack promote its events. Then he went flying at Nellis Air Force Base with the Thunderbirds. Jamie Little also aboard on both of these ends of the trips, by the way. How about a 92G turn in an airplane?
Lost his mind.
Yeah, I guess qualifying was pretty easy.
Carl Edwards starting on the pole today, and how about that for a pit crew?
Kyle Busch has led every lap, all 169 so far.
It was a battle down there at the end.
For the first time in a long time, Kyle Busch has got some unwanted company.
He doesn't go down easy, and you can't wear him out. He's an Iron Man.
Kyle Busch trying to throw the block, but Carl Edwards won't go away. Here he comes, they're side by side.
I think from last year, I owe Kyle one little bump. I thought about taking it, but it's a new year. I hope Carl didn't save everything he had for tomorrow.
Blown away, Kyle Busch, he makes contact with Carl Edwards.
The first person I got to apologize to is Carl Edwards, obviously.
And Carl Edwards is in trouble. That car nearly stopped.
My first impression was that Kyle was just frustrated that Ryan got by him and he turned down, but I looked at that and it looked like he might have just got loose. You know, it was unintentional, especially for the way we raced yesterday. I mean, it's just racing. Man, it's just so frustrating.
Well, it certainly was an exciting weekend between Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch, to say the least, Carl. So looking back on you guys had 4 practice sessions now and qualifying. Who has the better car here?
That's a really good question. I don't know who's got the better car. I think there's a lot of guys with good cars. I hope it's us. I mean, last week was, Saturday was a great race. It came right down to the wire with Kyle and I. Sunday it was awful. It was terrible. But we had a chance to talk this week, and I think we've got that behind us, and we'll just go race, and best man wins, and hopefully we don't run into each other. That'd be the best thing.
There was a lot going on in your world in the last week. Adrenaline packed. Of course, there was the Stratosphere, then a flight with the Thunderbirds the other day. How do those two thrills compare to racing here at Vegas?
But Jamie's being modest, you guys. She did everything I did. She jumped off the Stratosphere, and you rode with the Thunderbirds. And I've got to say, the whole thing was just an amazing week for me. I've had a blast. I'm out here. I got my family out here. We're having fun. The Thunderbirds are spectacular. It's just a professional, committed group of people to serve our country and be the best that they can be. And I was honored to fly with them. And I know you had fun, too. It's wild. It's like I'm living this dream. I get to go do all this fun stuff, and I got fast race cars, too.
Pulled 9.2 G's up in there. And congratulations on the pole, by the way. Looking for his first win.
9.1 here, 9.2 there. You had to one-up me. Good job.
It was exciting. Alan?
Yeah, I think I had the decimal point in the wrong place on my numbers before. I think I said 92 G's. No, but 9.1, that's impressive. Very impressive still. Kyle Busch starting alongside Carl on the front row and chasing an all-time series record with Mark Martin. Kyle second on the all-time win list, trailing Mark by 4. And look at the comparison of their Nationwide Series numbers. Incredibly similar. Number of races to get those wins, average finish, the whole thing. Two of the best this series has ever seen.
Mirror images. Look at those numbers. Incredible, guys. And I remember back when Mark was dominating, and it's just the same as today as Kyle dominating.
Well, Mark has a chance to add to his win total today. The last 2 times he's competed in this race, he's won it. He drives the Turner Motorsports 32 from 5th starting spot. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Yeah, Mark, unlike the other 42 drivers standing behind you in this field today, we welcome your return to the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Hey, what prompted you to come back here and race with these guys?
Well, I wanted to get involved with Turner Motorsports. They've got a lot of great people and some good stuff going on over there, and so I wanted to get involved with them a little bit this year and do some nationwide and some truck races, and I'm really looking forward to it. I didn't know how much fun, I forgot how much fun it was, and it's been awesome working with the Dollar General team. I've really enjoyed it and look forward to the race today.
Now, while you were away, the Toyota for Kyle Busch and the Ford for Carl Edwards had their way with these guys now. What do you and your Chevy have for them today?
Well, I'm not sure we're ready for them just yet. Our car's good, but, I think that we'll get better when we work together a little bit, and all the Turner Motorsports cars are really strong, but those guys are really incredible, the Roush cars and Kyle. So we're going to race hard and race smart and learn and have a good time, have fun.
Hey, have some fun, and welcome home, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, Mark Martin back in the field, AB.
All right, Doc, thanks. Talking about Mark and Kyle Busch racing for the all-time win record in this series. Last week at Phoenix, Kyle Busch led all 200 laps of the race, something that doesn't happen often in this sport or this series. In fact, it's only happened 17 times over 30 years. Kyle, last Saturday at Phoenix, all 200 laps. Prior to Kyle, last time it was done, July 2003.
Wow, Dale Earnhardt Jr. led 100 laps at Daytona.
All 100.
Awesome.
Jeff Burton, Darlington.
Oh, that's tough to do. God,
that's
lead
saying
any
something.
laps there, but
Man,
all of them.
Wow, that is saying something.
Not only to just not hit something at Darlington, but to lead all 200. And then how about this? 1986.
Man,
yeah.
Look how dark that hair was. What happened, man? What's going on?
A lot of stress.
Orange County Speedway, Rougemont, North Carolina, for Dale Jarrett. Let's hear from Kyle. He will start second today. Vince Welch.
From that dominating weekend last week at Phoenix to a homecoming week here at Las Vegas, how do you keep it all from being a distraction with everything you've got going on and off the track?
There's plenty going on, that's for sure. But, you put your focus back into what you're doing and what's going on. And right now with the Nationwide Series race, we've got a really good race car here with the Z-Line Designs Camry. And excited about what Jason and the guys have brought to the racetrack. So we'll see how it goes today. I know Carl's pretty good. And it seems like all the Roush cars are actually good here this weekend. They're back to their typical mile-and-a-half strength, but we'll see how it goes and see if we can't hold them off with our Toyota Camry.
You won 4 times on the mile-and-a-half tracks last year, but the 18 really hasn't been a lucky number here in Vegas. You've had some bad luck. What gives you the feeling with what you've had in practice so far with this car that this is going to be different?
This is probably one of the best cars I've had here, definitely, and it seems like one of the easier cars to drive that I've had here too. So track position's key. This place is so fast that you actually would rather be out front. It's going to limit passing a little bit because we're so close to being wide open here. It's going to be close to like an IndyCar race, I guess you'd say. But, we're going around here at such good speeds that, you got to have good handling. You got to have a car that'll turn so you can hold the throttle down for a long time.
You're going to be our in-race reporter today, too. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Kyle Busch, if you want to ask Kyle a question, log on to ESPN.com. Keyword, ask the driver.
All right, Vince, thanks. Kyle and Carl, reflecting back a minute, the comments they made after the race last Saturday, the comments they made after the race last Sunday. Where do things stand with them?
Well, I think things are fine, but I think you need to remember that these guys are going to be chasing that same piece of real estate because they're the 2 best in this series. So we will see them get together again, and there may be a little bit of unfinished business once they're in those circumstances.
Be interesting to think about. Thinking about Kyle Busch and Mark Martin today. Kind of gives me a flashback. A lot of those wins for Mark came driving for Roush Racing, that number 60 car. Against guys, DJ, like yourself, you were driving a team you owned, not for your Yates Racing Cup team at the time. Now the tables are turned. Kyle's driving for Joe Gibbs Racing, and here's Mark Martin driving for essentially a Nationwide Series only team trying to overtake him. You can relate.
Yeah, sure can. And it was always difficult. You knew how the job that you had at hand in trying to outrun Mark Martin, whatever he was driving. But certainly when he got with Jack Roush, you knew that it was going to be difficult, especially we didn't have the technology and everything that they had. We just had to try to outwork them, work hard. But you knew, just like with Kyle Busch today, he wants to be the first one on the track. Mark was always that. He wanted to be the fastest one in practice and qualifying. You knew that's who you had to beat. So these guys, as we saw the stats a while ago, it really is a mirror image of each other. They just both terrific drivers.
Another guy doing now what you did then, Kevin Harvick, with his own Nationwide Series team, trying to compete against the Joe Gibbs Racing and the Roush Fenway efforts. Kevin with a good qualifying spot. He's in 4th.
Yeah, they continue to get better every week with this program that Kevin Harvick has put together. I mean, he really deserves a tremendous pat on the back. His Truck Series teams, his Nationwide entries are very, very strong. And that lends itself to another young man, Elliott Sadler, someone we're looking forward to watching get back to that Cup Series. Elliott's a very talented young man, and we expect him to win some races and get that KHI car in victory lane.
Yeah, Kevin told me yesterday that they have some work to do. He wasn't very happy when they showed up here Thursday in practice. They've got some work to do to make their program better where he and Elliott can contend for wins.
What'd you say when Mark Martin was talking about his car?
Yeah, be careful. Watch Mark Martin today. When he starts talking about, well, I'm not sure about my car. He's ready to wear somebody out.
All right, we've got to send you from here up top to go call the race. Appreciate your time, DJ.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Coming up, speaking of guys that are going to contend for the win today and contend for the championship, got a great NBA doubleheader on Sunday with teams that are going to contend for the crown.
Well, I'll tell you, Derrick Rose, MVP of the NBA. He's outstanding this year for the Bulls.
Derrick Rose and the Bulls taking on LeBron, Dwayne, and the Miami Heat. Then the second half of the doubleheader, Kobe and the Lakers taking Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, and who'd have thought it, the NBA leading Spurs.
I'll tell you what, that Kobe Bryant's not bad either. I might take him on my team as well.
NBA on ABC. Tomorrow coverage starts at 12:30 Eastern with the Buick Regal NBA Countdown. Still to come on NASCAR Countdown from Las Vegas. Tim?
AB, when we come back, we're going to be talking about this tapered spacer and how aggressive the drivers are going to have to be to win the race here in Las Vegas.
All right, we'll look for that when NASCAR Countdown continues from Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas!
Gosh.
Viva Las Vegas!
White flag this time. Will it be the veteran or the young driver with the young crew chief? For the checkered flag, Harvick takes it low. Kane dives to the bottom, and on the apron, Harvick wins it.
As the white flag waves, they have one lap. Can Jeff Burton get there?
Wide open on the top of the track. It's going to be a drag race right to the end.
Burton squeezes high. They are door to door.
Jeff Burton, good job.
Jeff Burton takes the win, and Kyle Busch slams the wall.
It'll depend right here if Brad Keselowski can hold up Carl a little bit as to whether Mark Martin's going to have a chance at this.
Oh, here we go. Contact Martin into the back of the 60 car.
Some of the great finishes we've had in the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Las Vegas Motor Speedway over the past 14 years. Somebody's going to celebrate with the Showgirls today as winner of race number 15.
Awesome, awesome.
Good field of 43 getting ready to go on a beautiful day here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Kevin Harvick, perhaps a good candidate to do that, celebrating later today. He starts fourth, Jamie.
That's right, but after the end of practice yesterday, Happy Harvick wasn't as happy with the car. What were you guys fighting, Kevin?
We were just out in right field, to be honest with you, but we made a lot of changes to the car. Luckily, Elliott and their tap-out Chevrolet found some things that worked, and we put all that in there this morning and qualified well. So that's a far cry from where our Ream Chevrolet was yesterday. I couldn't even make a lap, and today you ran around there wide open. So we'll see what happens.
All right, he's the defending winner here in the Nationwide Series, and he'll roll off fourth. Alan?
Jamie, thanks. So, a little piece of metal that makes this track a stressful drive in these cars. Tim Brewer in our Craftsman Tech Garage has that explanation. Tim?
Thanks, AB. This is what NASCAR refers to as their tapered spacer. What it does, it restricts the airflow and the fuel. The Cup cars, they run this entire plenum area open. Gives the cars about 150 more horsepower. But the Nationwide Series, you use this tapered spacer to reduce the fuel and the air into the engine. So the trick here, AB, is make sure that throttle stays open as much as you possibly can, because that momentum to go down in the corner wide open, run through the center, you're going to accelerate off the corner, giving you a good chance to win the race here in Vegas.
Tim, thanks. And that's what separates the good cars and the good drivers from the rest of us, is keeping that throttle wide open. That's stressful.
Having that ability to keep the throttle wide open is going to be very, very difficult today, though, Alan. I talked to Eric Almirola as well as Kenny Wallace, who has over 490 starts in this series. And the problem with this racetrack is going down into turn one. There's a tremendous amount of bumps all throughout the groove. And as you go down to the corner, that left front spring tries to collapse and give the car a little bit of balance, and it creates a pushing situation. As the car rolls into it shoots it up the racetrack, makes it hard. But Kenny Wallace was telling me, you're trying, if you can, to hold that thing almost wide open all the way around this racetrack. And the guy who doesn't lift gets there first, one way or another.
Sometimes when you're holding it wide open across those bumps, it goes a little wrong. That was Joe Nemechek in practice here on Friday, and a tough day here for Joe. Now, tires and strategy. It'll be a factor today, but it may actually be the exact opposite of the way it was here last year. 54 to go in last year's race. That's Denny Hamlin in the 20. He gets right side tires only and goes to the lead, while Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick get 4 tires on their final pit stop, looking ahead to Carl from Kevin's car. End result, Hamlin gets the lead, but gets passed by Harvick. Hamlin finishes second. Harvick on 4 tires wins the race. We're going to see tire strategy again today, but it may be the opposite.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, we've got a very, very durable tire. Goodyear's done a great job, especially that right front's very, very durable. So I think what we will see is sequencing stops, fuel, and maybe 2 tires only instead of the 4 to try to get yourself in track position.
So we'll see how the strategy plays out on pit road, especially when we get down to the money stop later on in this 300-mile race. J-Ski news and notes now. A story just developing here today in Vegas. Robbie Gordon has been placed on indefinite probation by NASCAR after an altercation he had reportedly with Kevin Conway in the garage at the track here on Friday night. Seeing how the other side lives, Jamie McMurray and Ganassi IndyCar teammate Scott Dixon and Tony Stewart in Formula One's Lewis Hamilton will trade rides for a play day. And every car on the field today will carry a decal marking the 50th anniversary of the first start of Wendell Scott, the pioneer driver that was 50 years ago this week. Fans are filing in. The grid is formed along pit road, and we are ready for the third race of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. The sign says it all. Welcome to Las Vegas.
Vegas. A veritable feast for the senses. And when NASCAR invades its mile-and-a-half track, Sim City gets loud. Veteran Cup drivers have been dominating the Nationwide Series so far. Take Smoke. He inched out a win at Daytona by a nose. And then you got Rowdy. Phoenix was no match for him. Vegas odds are in favor of these bets, too. But it's a new year. A Nationwide regular could play his cards right. Place your bets. Because someone's going home lucky.
Drive carefully. At 190 miles an hour, yeah, right. Driver's going to need some luck. Get a good dose of skill and bravery today at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where the NASCAR Nationwide Series is about to go racing for 300 miles. A 2007 remodeling has turned this mile-and-a-half track into a fast and at times nasty place, a place where we've seen some favorites be frustrated and some finishes get frantic. Time for the opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Nellis Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Las Vegas Motor Speedway Chaplain Joe Freiberger offers today's invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for giving us a beautiful spring day for racing. Lord, bless and protect these drivers while they're out on the track. Grant wisdom to their crew and the fire and safety personnel. And Lord, we ask a special blessing for the brave men and women who serve and defend this great nation of ours. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Please join me in welcoming Speedway Superstar Contest winner John Philip Bowen as he performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
Those Jets will be back. Hang on. Now the moment every one of these drivers waits all week for. He can stop thinking about it, stop talking about it, and buckle in and go race. 300 miles ahead. Who hits the jackpot today in Vegas? The engines fire next.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Nationwide Insurance.
Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Viva! Viva Las Vegas!
No question. It's one of the most unique race weekends of the year. NASCAR fans spending their nights enjoying all that is Las Vegas and their days here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway enjoying the high-speed racing action. The 15th Nationwide Series race at this track about to begin. 43 players have anteed up. There are favorites and long shots, and we may see a roll of the dice on pit road, and I'm done with the casino analogies for right now.
Pick it up what you like.
Except for one more. We go upstairs and bring in our headliners for the day, none of whom would agree to wear the Elvis costume for this on-camera opening moment. Marty Reed, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie.
But, Alan, we took a quick vote, and Elvis's version of Viva Las Vegas was far superior than Brad's.
Way better.
Way better.
Jealous.
Yeah, right. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the fact that everybody has noticed, hey, the first two races were won by guys that are not challenging for the Nationwide Series Championship. But take a look at the numbers. If they were eligible, it might surprise you a little bit. Kyle Busch would be leading, of course, but Reed Sorensen would just be 8 points behind. Ricky Stenhouse would be third. You're saying, where's Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski? Well, you can see right there. Brad K with those two DNFs would be 61 points behind. So as we come back up topside, what's all that mean for these young guys now?
Well, the Turner Motorsports drivers you saw there with Reed Sorensen and the other cars, the Leffler, all those young guys have got a good start going. And then the Roush cars, you got you got
Ricky Stenhouse.
Stenhouse. I'm trying to get Ricky Stenhouse. He has had a really good start so far, and he's running great. I mean, he is absolutely running great. This weekend, it could be a breakout day for him.
Yeah, I think that these young guys are getting great opportunities with some really good equipment, and they're showcasing their talents and showing us that, hey, this Nationwide Series is really strong with talent.
Well, this is the challenge they're going to face, though. Take a look at this statistic. 4 guys in this field are 4 of the all-time win leaders in this division. Mark Martin, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards. You see the numbers right there. These guys have got their hands full with these veterans.
Yeah, but if they do win today, look what it will mean for their career. They've beaten the best ever in this series. So, yeah, it could be a big day for a lot of young drivers.
Yeah, they have that opportunity out there, but it may take a little bit to steal something from Allen, a little bit of roll of the dice, maybe a little two-tire strategy or something like that, get them up front, and then throw caution to the wind.
Well, we're not going to go throwing caution anything. We're going to throw it down trackside to get the third race of the year underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the host of Inside NASCAR on Showtime, Chris Myers, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Fire it up. I'll get it cranked up here if you'd like. Let me know when you want to please. Going straight to the garage. Ready, you'll stick right here, Jay. Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Okay. Thank you. What does 2 need to be on so I can...
So the engines are fired on all 43 cars. There is Carl Edwards. He'll lead the field to the green flag. But let's talk about the man who's in second spot, Kyle Busch. Because remember last week, a total of 119 racers in the field in 3 races. He beat all but one of them. Of course, that was Jeff Gordon on Sunday. He won the truck race, won the Nationwide race. He's going to be our in-race reporter. And when we come back, we'll talk to him.
Work, man. Nice work. All right, guys, we made it. Good job. Nice work. Nice work.
Back here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where qualifying was held earlier today, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., boy, he made a statement. He is qualified in that number 3 spot. You see his time there, 29.8 seconds. Kyle Busch then came out, and boy, he laid down a nice number, 29.73. Everybody thought, that's going to be tough to beat. That is until Carl Edwards took out to the track. He does 29.69 at 181.8 miles an hour. He now has like 22 career poles, 17 of them on the 1.5 miles. He is the all-time leader in that category, but only 3 of the prior 14 times has the pole sitter won this event at Las Vegas. Of course, for Kyle Busch, this could be a big day. He's had 7 starts here, but has never finished in first. In fact, he has only one top 10 in those 7 starts. Maybe today's a different day. Let's find out. Let's talk to him, DJ.
Hey, Kyle, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
Yeah, man, right here.
Hey, Kyle, we're going to go first to our mailbag question from Robert in Lula, Georgia. He says, how hard is it for you to stay focused on this weekend's racing, with this being your hometown and track?
It's not that hard. You know, you put your business first. So for me, I love racing, and that's what I do. And that's what I think about. That's what I live, breathe, and sleep. So to come on out to the racetrack and spend some time with some friends here in town and whatnot, you know, it's all relative.
Okay, talking about the racetrack, the buzz that I've heard all weekend has been about turn 1, the bumps down there. As a driver, what is your mindset when you have to race into that corner side by side with another car, knowing that it could create a situation there?
Yeah, it's definitely tricky for sure, especially racing on the inside of somebody going down in there. You know, you get through the bumps and your back end can get upset and you can back it around and, you know, take some other cars with you. So it's tricky for sure. And this place is so fast that you're carrying a lot of speed that, you know, getting down into the corner side by side is tricky enough already, but let alone throwing some bumps into it too makes you a little weary. So the bumps are bad. I mean, you know, they've been kind of here since we've ever started coming here since the repave, but they definitely have not gone away or they have not gotten smaller.
All right, Kyle. Hey, we appreciate you talking with us. You have a great day. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe.
Hey, Jason, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you, Andy.
Hey, Jason, we got a new tire, a new car here at this fast racetrack. What have you learned the last couple of days of practice that may impact pit strategy, especially late in this race?
I would say the biggest thing we learned is probably that Goodyear brought a really good tire here. The wear on the tire is really good. So there could be some very interesting pit strategies at the end of this race because the tire wear is so good. You may see some right sides or maybe some fuel only. At the end of the day, you know, our fuel guy could be the MVP on pit road today. So we'll see. The one thing that we don't know is, you know, if we get in a long green flag run and get some traffic, we're not sure yet how our car is going to react. So we'll use the first 100 laps, kind of evaluate our car, see where we need to be at the end, and see if we can keep Kyle up front, try to put this Z-Line Designs Toyota in victory lane.
Okay, Jason, we'll learn with you as you go, and good luck today. Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you.
Across the top of the screen, we'll bring in our starting field. There were only 43 cars, so nobody ended up being sent home today. And as we get ready to go, we'll show you the rest of our onboard. We did have one car going to the rear, the 97, for unapproved adjustments. You see it's Danica Patrick, Trevor Bayne. We've already talked to Kyle, Reed Sorensen, Justin Allgaier, Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, and Stephen Wallace. Our over-the-wall reporter is Sean Pete. He's the jack man for Mark Martin today on the 32. There he is. Sean, you guys be safe down there, and we'll keep tabs on those pit stops today. Let's get the latest from pit road. First up, Vince Welch.
Well, Marty, nationwide champion Brad Keselowski from a season ago always was in the mix until the end. Just one lap all of last season did he not complete. But boy, how things have changed over the course of this season. It began with the season opener at Daytona for Brad K. That ended up in an accident. Certainly unfamiliar territory for Keselowski and the 22 crew. But then last week at Phoenix, it was more of the same with an accident on the 1 mile track in Arizona. And then the trend continued here on Thursday when Keselowski hit the wall in practice, putting his team in catch-up mode the rest of the weekend. Crew chief Todd Gordon, there you get a look at him there, said that they feel like they've been in a hole and playing catch-up mode all weekend long. He thinks they've got a 5th place car to start today. They hope to make it a 1st place car by the end. Jamie Little?
Well, last Monday marked the 10-year wedding anniversary of Kevin and Delana Harvick, who got married right here in Las Vegas. But the 2-time nationwide winner was not all smiles after practice yesterday. He just told me moments ago they were in left field when it came to the balance of the race car. They've since made a lot of changes, and he's hoping that will get him back to victory lane where they were 1 year ago. Dr. Jerry Punch?
Well, today, last year's the NASCAR Sprint Cup points runner-up Denny Hamlin makes his first of 2 scheduled starts in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, but he's working with a brand new crew chief, Adam Stevens, making only his 3rd ever race as a crew chief for Joe Gibbs Racing. So you got to wonder, what's the relationship like? Is chemistry that important? How about communications? How about relationship? We're going to find out here in just a moment. Marty?
All right, thanks, Doc. The pace car has pulled off. It is Edwards, Busch, Stenhouse, Harvick, your top 4 with Martin, Sadler, Bayne, Sorensen, Hamlin, and Allgaier. That's your top 10. You see the great crowd we've got on hand. The 3rd race of the 2011 NASCAR Nationwide season is green. Edwards got jumped on the start, both sides, with Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, and he's fallen back even further.
They put him right in the middle of those bumps that we were talking about down there in turns 1 and 2. You can see his car really bounce.
Coming across the stride, Kevin Harvick. They have definitely corrected their issues from earlier in the practice sessions. He's across the line first. Sadler, then Kyle Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Edwards has dropped to 6th.
Well, these 2 cars up front really struggled here on Thursday in the first practice session. You see Ricky Stenhouse trying to take that 3rd spot away Kyle Busch, I'm saying second spot.
Stenhouse on the high side in the 6, Kyle underneath. Come through 3 and 4. This is a much smoother section of the racetrack. Not until you get down to 1 and 2 does it really get interesting.
Yeah, the track's still got a lot of sand on. I saw a lot of cars kicking up dust in 3 and 4 on that first lap, so it'll take a few laps before they can really use that outside lane.
Winds yesterday as high as 30 miles an hour played havoc with the cars going through 1 and 2. Today, the air is about 10 to 15.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of contact there between Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse. They came out of turn 2.
Well, Kyle had mentioned the fact, as you've heard, if you're down low, it could be a problem.
Yeah, I think Stenhouse has got Kyle a little frustrated down on the bottom, not able to use the whole racetrack.
Side by side, Harvick still well out in front. You can see the gap from tails away there.
After Kevin Harvick's comments pre-race, he probably didn't know what he had really to start with. But he's really got something going.
39 of Josh Wise looked like he got it turned around. He got a little bit of dirt coming back out onto the track as he came back out onto the race surface. We do have our first caution flag flying as a result, as we've completed just 3 of the 200 laps. Let's go back and show you exactly what happened. Yeah, he's loose.
Yeah, you get up off of turn 4. A lot of times your car will push out to the wall. You go give.
Oh, my goodness. Man.
Tell you what, Travis Pastrana would have been proud of that in one of his jumps.
Man, look how well the car held up.
Yeah.
So, how's your steering wheel? Is it straight?
Yeah, it's straight.
That's incredible that front end was able to withstand that.
Well, Josh, you can see that a little bit of damage on the right front corner, but there you can see as he comes in. Stay with us. We'll come back and update you to this message from word from our ABC stations. Speedway, as our first caution is just about to wrap up as they get all the mud and the grass off of the front straightaway here. As a result of Josh Wise trying to do his best Travis Pastrana impersonation, let's go back and show you exactly what happened. All 4 wheels come off the ground.
Yeah, I've never seen a car catch that much air like that. And it didn't look like it hurt the car, but you see the crew down there trying to assess the damage.
This is the angle that really shows it.
Yeah, you can see right here where it hits, where you have the pavement for that little short track they have here on the front straightaway, and you can see right there when it came down, Andy.
You can see right there it did bend the whole front section of that the bodywork.
Now, while that was going on, we'll show you also what happened between Eric Almirola in the 88 and Trevor Bayne in the 16. A little bit of contact.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of tight racing here today, and in this situation, that car on the inside is not getting all the air to his rear spoiler. You can see got a little bit loose at Trevor Bayne up into Eric Almirola. No harm done.
And it also gives us a chance now to bring in our Goodyear track facts, and we'll talk a little bit about this banking and how it affects. We've already talked how smooth it is in 3 and 4, but not at the other end.
Yeah, the one thing we don't show are those bumps that we talked about down in 1 and 2, but it is a progressive banking that they have here, and the drivers really enjoy it. The other thing that I'll look at is that pit road speed. It seems we always have drivers getting caught on this pit road. It's a long pit road and get in trouble.
Yeah, you can see that pit window just a little bit shorter, about 5 laps shorter than we saw here last year with the old car and the old fuel. This new fuel uses just a little bit more, so you don't get quite as many laps out of the tank.
Well, let's update you. 2 cars have taken it to the barn already. Jeff Green and Mr. Conway have gone back to the garage area. 2 other cars are 2 laps down. Josh Wise, of course, in pit road, and Donnie Neuenberger, who is back out on the track. Let's get an update from Dr. Jerry Punch on the man who jumped out to that early race lead. Doc?
Marty, that is the story of the race thus far. And for folks just joining our coverage, Kevin Harvick, our race leader, ran only 4 laps yesterday in final practice. He told me prior to getting in the car that this car yesterday was undrivable. It was so bad he was afraid he was going to wreck it. He just parked it overnight, and this morning they totally changed the setup on this car to go to teammate Elliott Sadler's setup. On lap 1, he just pulls away and leads, and Kevin Harvick says, how's that for a teammate, huh? Pretty good job, guys. Vince?
Well, the 20 car is being driven by Denny Hamlin for the first time this season. One of 2 nationwide races Hamlin will run, and he had a little tongue-in-cheek commentary on that early yellow.
Yeah, good job being smart with these guys. Some of them, I don't even know who they are, or I don't think they know where they're going. Well, you go straight for a little while, then you take a left. You go a little further, and you take another left. I think a couple of these I need to tell that to, because they're just back and forth.
Denny Hamlin, he finished second here a year ago, Marty.
Right behind the 33 of Kevin Harvick. And Yeah. Who says these guys don't have a sense of humor?
Oh, yeah. Always nice to relax and have a little fun on a Saturday afternoon.
Lights out on the Pace truck as he's getting ready to bring it down pit road. Let's reset it for you. It'll be Kevin Harvick, and he's decided to go on the high side with the selection. It'll be Kyle Busch right beside him, then Carl Edwards, our pole sitter, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., then Elliott Sadler, Michael Annette's up to 6th, Allgaier, Hamlin, Sorensen, and Brad Keselowski round out your top 10. And as they come down the front straightaway, green flag waves. We're back to racing.
Looks like Carl gets a little better start this time.
Not as good as Kevin Harvick. Kyle Busch down low this time.
I don't know that we have anybody better than Kyle Busch in this series or any other series on these restarts of being able just to go pretty much wide open once he gets to high gear.
What makes him so good on those restarts?
He's fearless. He is literally fearless. I mean, he just believes that he can go down in there and hold it wide open, and it shows. Now he's got a 4-car length lead as they get back to the stripe.
And Carl Edwards has kind of found new life as he is side-by-side for second place. Vince, what's the latest you're hearing from Carl?
Well, the big difference, he got a much better restart this time. On that initial start to the race, he was on the pole position, but on the outside, and he was completely surprised by the 33 of Kevin Harvick coming on the outside. Carl said, I was so focused on keeping Kyle down underneath me, I wasn't expecting the 33 on the outside. Apologized to his spotter, said, my fault.
There you see right now he's managed to nose ahead as you're on board with Carl.
Well, you can see just how important it is on the restarts to get out front. I mean, you see Kyle Busch now got a big lead. He was really frustrated. He was on the inside of Ricky Stenhouse those first few laps and really couldn't go. And Kevin Harvick got a big lead. Now they're 3 wide.
Justin Allgaier in the 31. Boy, he is moving as he goes underneath Ricky Stenhouse and the 33 of Harvick.
You can really utilize the air here, especially on the exit of corners where 2 cars are side by side. And you saw that happen right there with Justin Allgaier.
Justin and wife Ashley celebrated their 5th wedding anniversary yesterday. He's trying to win a race for her as a present.
Right there on the outside, Michael Annette in the 62 car having a great race so far. Right behind Harvick.
We're seeing Harvick struggle now, so the tires, the new of the tires have worn off a little bit here. We'll see. Maybe they didn't fix all the problems they thought they had solved.
Also let you know as this action goes on, the 68 of Tim Andrews is taking it behind the wall. Side-by-side action with Reed Sorensen and Kevin Harvick. Right behind them is Michael Annette with a good early run here, and the 32 is Mark Martin. Mark looking to get underneath Annette now. That would be for the 8th position. Up front, it is now Kyle Busch leading by 0.8 of a second over Carl Edwards while we watch this action.
You can see you don't want to get stuck down on the bottom of the racetrack. You saw that 30 car. He was getting real loose right underneath Kevin Harvick. Oh, and you see right there, Mark Martin got loose.
Yeah, and they're having to drive these so hard. We heard Tim Brewer talking about the tapered spacer on these cars. They have to drive them so hard because they have just so much less horsepower. You get down on the bottom and you can't use all of that. You get yourself in trouble.
We're working lap 14 of 200 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Our race leader is Kyle Busch by 1 second over Carl Edwards. That
sounded like Harvick.
Kevin Harvick saying that, flat right rear.
Harvick jumped out to the early lead, and if that was his radio, and he's talking about possible flat right rear, that would explain why he has been dropping back. He is now in the 6th position, and he's under attack there from the 30 of Reed Sorensen. We have a total of 4 cars out of this race: Lewandowski, Andrews, Jeff Green, and Conway.
You can see from that shot right there, that 33 car really harsh over the bumps.
Let's get an update on the 33. Doc, what are you hearing?
Yeah, it is the right rear for Kevin Harvick. They're going to come down pit road this time and put 2 right side tires. That's why the car had slipped when it started to restart a moment ago, and the car was slipping up the track in the corners. He thinks the right rear tire is on its way down.
Well, he manages to hold off Reed Sorensen, at least for the moment.
It looks good to me. Our tires look good.
Right behind them, Michael Annette in the 62 still has his hands full with the 32 of Mark Martin. And a little bit further back, you see the number 2, a tap-out Chevy of Elliott Sadler. And that tap-out, brand new sponsorship coming on. That has been associated mainly with MMA and UFC, the Ultimate Fighting, and they're glad to get them on board. Let's go looking at 4th place right now. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and the 20 of Denny Hamlin.
Ricky Ricky Stenhouse been fast here all week through practice. A lot of people are talking about that. If somebody were going to upset Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards and try to steal a win away, it might be Ricky Stenhouse.
He's had top 10 finishes in his last 4 races dating back to last year. And I flat out asked him, I said, was there any point last year when you were having that dismal stretch where you lost confidence in yourself and you also thought you might get fired? He said, yeah, after the first Nashville race. He says, I'll freely admit it now. He says, I was at the bottom. And Jack Roush pulled me aside and said, it's your ride. You're going to be all right.
Well, there's nothing harder as a race driver when you get in those type of situations. You know you can do it, but everything around you is kind of falling apart. You start doubting yourself. You have to pick yourself back up and go get it done. That's what he's done.
Just in case you don't remember, he failed to finish in 5 of those first 12 races in 2010. And
Mark's struggling a little bit in that 32 car.
Yep, Trevor Bayne gets under him. Here comes the 22 of Brad Keselowski, defending series champion, and the man who has back-to-back DNFs here in 2011. And then you got Brian Scott in the 11 car going to try on the high side. Here comes Scott. Looks like he's going to take the spot away from Keselowski, and he does. So move Scott up into the 12th position. There's your race leader. Does he look familiar? Yeah, he led all 200 laps last week. He's ahead of Carl Edwards by 1.3 seconds here at Las Vegas. 24 laps into this 200-lapper in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Yeah, Kyle Busch is happy because he is out in front. There has been some interesting moments, to say the least. Let's go airborne. The Thunderbirds are flying right next door, but so is Josh Wise right here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The other guy that's flying is Kyle Busch. His lead is now up to 1.7 seconds. He's putting the 14 of Eric McClure a lap down. That means 25 cars on the lead lap. Millionaires give away their fortune to those who help the less fortunate. It's the series premiere of Secret Millionaire, and it's tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on ABC. Back in second place is Carl Edwards. Justin Allgaier has moved up to 3rd. Denny Hamlin now in 4th. Ricky Stenhouse is 5th. Kevin Harvick is back to 6th. Let's get an update on that 31, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Yeah, Marty, Justin Allgaier's run here twice and had top 10 finishes in both trips to Las Vegas. He told me before the race, he said, you know, we got a 10 in qualifying, and we got an ace of a race car. You take a 10 and an ace out here, that's blackjack. I think we got a really good car for him today. He said, I would be disappointed with anything less than a top 5 finish. Vince.
You know, we addressed in the open the fact that Brad Keselowski had an accident in this car on Thursday. The damage was so significant they almost went to the backup. The only difference was there was no frame damage. So NASCAR said, no, you got to go ahead and fix it. Gave them some extra time to do so, but they still haven't quite gotten a handle on it. As you see Keselowski moving on the right side of the screen, he says the car's pretty good into 1 and 3, but it's bouncing a lot. Bouncing a lot going into 1 and 3, but pretty good off 2 and 4. So we got about half of it figured out so far.
All right, thank you, Vince. And you can see that continues on the right side as Keselowski gets around the 97 of Joe Nemechek. Joe back in a backup car. They made a swap also with Conway. So there is your 31 trying to track down Denny Hamlin as Hamlin's in the 3rd spot. And a little bit farther forward, you've got Edwards in 2nd and Kyle Busch running 1st. Let's get more on that 18. What are you hearing, Jamie?
Well, Kyle Busch is a happy camper checking out front back home in Las Vegas. But looking back at the last 3 years, this has not been a very friendly track to Kyle Busch. Still looking for his first win in the Nationwide Series. And right now, his lap times are good, but he's just asking, fishing, do you guys have any more left? Do you have any side pipe for me? Can we do anything with the track bar? So still trying to make the car better despite checking out in the lead.
All right, Jamie, you mentioned it. He finished 2nd back in 2007. Other than that, he has never cracked the top 10 here. Last year, 16th. And he has led a lot of laps, but when it comes time to, shall we say, crunch time, he's gotten crunched. Farther back in the field, let's check in on some of the action that's going on right there between the 62 of Michael Annett and the 2 of Elliott Sadler. They're going around Timmy Hill in the 15. Hill making his 2nd nationwide start after turning 18 just a little over a week ago.
I talked to Elliott Sadler on Thursday evening after their practice session, and he was not very happy with their race cars at all. They knew they had a long way to go. It looked like they've made some significant progress, but maybe a couple of adjustments for he and Kevin Harvick will be better suited whenever they make their first stop.
Notice Trevor Bayne got around him for a moment, now has fallen back, and they've got new sponsorship, aviators.com on board. In fact, both the Roush cars, Ricky Stenhouse has Easy Feet on board. Not full-time sponsorship, but they'll be with them for multiple races.
I'll tell you, when you have a racetrack that's got as many bumps as this track does, it's really hard to get a handle on it. I mean, a lot of teams can struggle with that. It's not an easy thing to try to get these cars balanced. Right here, you see Brian Scott's whole right side's torn up. Jamie?
And Brian Scott in the 11, you see it right there. He hit the wall with the right side. He's still trying to learn this track. He's just a bit loose. They're going to take advantage here, make a track bar adjustment down just a bit, and put 4 new tires on it.
He was running 13th at the time, and so now try and keep him on the lead lap, but that's going to be extremely difficult to do. In fact, he has already gone 1 lap down, just slowing to get in. We do have a replay of what happened to him. Let's go back and show it to you.
You can see just got up a little bit too high. These cars haven't used a lot of that upper groove, and I talked to a number of the drivers, so there's not a lot of grip up there, and talking to a number of the drivers about would this groove move up, especially with the bumps down in 1 and 2, they said that because you're having to run wide open, there's really no benefit to going all the way up there.
Yeah, I talked to Danica a little bit just before the race, and she was saying that these bumps really do kind of extend all the way up to the top of the racetrack. She's really struggled with them, but she's having a great race so far. She's passed more cars than anybody.
And in fact, she's just moved up to the 14th position. Doc?
Exactly, guys. And the word here in Danica's pit is steady as she goes. She did a great job at Daytona, getting a 14th place finish. A major improvement over a year ago last week at Phoenix with a 17th place finish. Although the car has been very, very loose with minimal front grip here in practice. She spun, by the way, in practice, but didn't hit anything. They are very impressed and very pleased with what she's done, being very methodical, not saying much on the radio, but starting 22nd, moving all the way up now into the top 15, showing in 14th spot.
Doc, she's wheeling that thing. I mean, she is really driving this car hard. You can see her tightening the belts on the straightaway where those bumps kind of loosen those belts. But she's passed more cars since the restart than any other car. 9 so far.
And even with all drivers eligible, if they were for points, she'd still be 6th in the points right now. So doing fine at this point. And you can see when she gets down to 1 and 2 because those hands really get busy.
Yeah, and you try to hold it steady, but the bumps just won't allow it. You have to have the shock to hold the front end down, the spring soft, so it really gets to be difficult down there. But she's doing a nice job, making a nice arc and then a nice run off the corner. See, she's in the throttle a lot.
Yeah, she's in a 31.77 last lap, and the leader, Kyle Busch, 31.72. So she's very competitive lap times right now.
So as Danica Patrick continues on her 3rd race of the 2011 campaign, that's Shelby Howard that she is closing on. Shelby is already 1 lap down in 28th position. There's the comparison from last year's first 2 races to this year. Can you say improvement? Lap number 43, which means we're getting ready for green flag pit stops. And remember the all-important new refueling system that has eliminated the catch can man. Everybody communicating, making sure they know exactly what their job is going to be, because it's going to get a little hairy down there. Welcome back to the Sam's Town 300 at Las Vegas. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. You're looking at our race leader from high above. That is Kyle Busch. His lead now 1.3 seconds over Carl Edwards. We've had 2 leaders, Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. 2 lead changes. And we have now a total of 10 cars out of this race. Yaley, Byers, Rowe, LePage, Wise, Haar, Lewandowski, Andrews, Green, and Conway.
Not too many more laps. We'll see green flag stops. And Dale, this has been one of the, like you said before the race, that this is a pit road where drivers have really had a hard time not getting busted for speeding.
Yeah, and one place that you can really is coming right off of the racetrack in that first segment, because you're right on the bottom. You have to give a good hand signal, make sure you don't get run over, because you're still in the racing groove as you get to that, getting that car load down enough to where you don't get caught in that first or second segment.
14 cars still remain on the lead lap. That's how good Kyle Busch has been again. Danica Patrick running in that 14th spot. She is next to go a lap down. Meanwhile, you see some people already taking advantage and coming in for pit stops. The 99 of Ryan Truex. Vince, he's coming your way.
Yeah, Ryan Truex running 21st as he heads in for this initial pit stop. Car's just been loose on entry and loose on exit. They've been fighting that throughout the course of this first 45 laps, making a track bar adjustment in the rear and a 4-tire change for the youngster Ryan Truex.
Ryan, 18 years old. He was 11 years old when his older brother made his first nationwide start here back in 2004. And there on the right side of your screen, you can see Kyle Busch getting ready to make it 13 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's going to put Danica a lap down here.
Yeah, she's fighting hard,
really well. Yeah, she is.
Maybe she was listening to what you told her earlier today when we saw her in the garage area, Andy.
Yeah, we're talking about just being a few tenths off, how hard it is to stay on the lead lap in these long runs.
Brad Keselowski and Michael Annett as they are duking it out for position. That is 9th, 10th, with 11th place being held down by Elliott Sadler.
Yeah, Michael Annett doing a nice job here today. Certainly his best run so far in the Rusty Wallace machine.
I'm actually surprised this 22 car of Keselowski hasn't been better, because when this new car first came out, remember how fast he was at all the tracks? It's like they caught on to it quicker than most, but all these other teams have really caught up.
Sadler gets around the 62 very quickly. That's Joe Nemechek. That is a backup car. And here we go with Justin Allgaier in. Doc?
Justin Allgaier has the 4-team NASCAR Sprint Cup crew of Casey Kane pitting the car. Crew chief Jimmy Ellis will put 4 tires on it. Justin said, you got to loosen me up if I'm going to run them up front with these guys. The car has just gotten too tight over the last 15 laps. Started 10th, running 3rd, dropped back to 4th. He is away.
Yeah, you saw right there, they had to wait on fuel.
We can tell you Michael Annett has also made a stop. You see Danica Patrick coming in as well. And here comes our race leader, bottom of your screen, the 18 of Kyle Busch. Jamie?
And Kyle Busch has been the class of the field. He was talking about wanting a track bar adjustment to help with side bite just a bit. 4 tires and fill it up. Remember, his crew chief at the start of the race talking about the fuel man on the back left-hand side, that he could be the MVP. They're listening to him. Let's go to Vince.
Well, the 20 of Denny Hamlin has had some radio issues throughout the course of the race. He was trying to relay information to the team and didn't realize that he was not being heard. So they had to switch over to another battery for the radio. It's a 4-tire change, a little bit of an air pressure adjustment to help Denny Hamlin on entry.
We can tell you Mark Martin has also made his stop, as has the 30 of Reed Sorensen. Doc, how about Kevin Harvick?
And Kevin jams the brakes on and slides to a halt just before the front of his pit box. Going to be 4 tires for Kevin Harvick. He said the car is loose. It's been very loose, but has gotten better and better on the scale of 1 to 10. And there's now a 2 loose, 4 tires for Harvick. Vince.
Well, the 2 car of Elliott Sadler's been running up in the top 5 throughout the course of the day today. Said he just doesn't have much to hang on to. They've got to guard against the rear of the car too much, making an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for the car of Elliott Sadler. And then the 60 car of Carl Edwards. He has been trailing Kyle Busch throughout most of the race. Now comes in as the leader. They're making a track bar adjustment, 1 round down, and an air pressure adjustment in both tires to help secure the car of Carl Edwards. Now the 22 of Brad Keselowski is in as well. Car is loose, bouncing in and going into the turns. And Andy, you mentioned this car and being a little surprised they haven't been as good as you thought they might be. They've really struggled after that accident on Thursday, and getting the splitter to settle down on this car, especially on the entry to turn 1. That's been the main issue for this 22 car in Brad Keselowski so far this week. And he stalled it. That's going to slow him down even more.
Just a ton of problems on pit road right there for Keselowski. Carl Edwards was in the pits for a long time on that stop.
Edwards did lead 3 laps through the cycling of pit stops, so we've had 3 different leaders. Kyle Busch has regained control of the lead. You remember DJ talking about speeding penalties? The 62, Michael Annett, too fast entering. He's already done his pass-through. It has been very costly for him, though, as it has put him 1 lap down in 28th position. You heard Doc, we were on board. There is Kevin Harvick, currently running in the 7th spot, but he almost went too far coming into hit road.
This was interesting. You can see right here riding along with him. He was way up on the racetrack trying to get this car slowed down. See this car wheel hopping. He's on the brakes so hard. He does get it slowed down and got to his pit area, though.
And then when he got to the pit box, he almost slid through that as well. 22. Pass-through penalty, too fast exiting. So our second speeding penalty, this one goes to Brad Keselowski. So it has not been a good start to the season for our defending series champ. Kevin Harvick right now running in the 7th position. He's got his hands full. Right behind him is Trevor Bayne, but they're all chasing Kyle Busch. Harvick won here last year. Don't count him out yet. We've completed 58 of the 200 laps here at Las Vegas, and Kyle Busch is leading by 10 seconds over Denny Hamlin, 14 over Carl Edwards, 16 over Justin Allgaier. There are only 10 cars on the lead lap and a total of 10 cars out of this race. Now, for Carl Edwards, the reason he has fallen back so far, it was at the tail end of this pit stop. And take a look at what happens. Remember, we talked about this refueling rig and how important it is?
We saw they came in and made tire changes and a little bit of a chassis adjustment. You see the wrench going in the window. Everything's going pretty smooth on this stop. Go around to the left side. Really no issues with the tire change, but you can see right now it's taking a ton of time for this car to get full of fuel. I mean, look at this. You can see the crew time running. I mean, just incredible amount of time. Over 27 seconds on this stop. They got an issue. They need to get that fixed.
And that is why they are 14 seconds behind the race lead. So that's the refueling rig. Let's check in the Craftsman Tech Garage and explain to us, Tim, how it can take so long.
It's just one of those things. They're going through transitions. They're still trying to figure out this fueling system. But the system, you have to go straight in and straight out. But the trick here is, guys, you're actually coming into the center. You're putting fuel in. But this outer ring right here, that's what's exhausting the air. And it's just like anything else. When you used to have the vent back here, you had to open the flapper. But you had to open that flapper to let the air out. And now, right now, you got a lot of stuff going on. But I guarantee you, the guys, they'll work on this, and they'll make it better sooner than later.
So, Tim, what you're saying is if it's not dead center, if it's leaning one way or the other, that's what's going to slow it down?
No, it's not that, Marty. It's just the effect of the fuel going in the center and the air coming back out the outside. But if it's not engaged and completely open, say like this position right here, if it's not all the way engaged, it's going to simply flow slower.
All right, let's check in on the 60 radio.
Are you sure you got all the wheels tight? Yeah, well, you think enough fuel in it? Not at all. Just take stock here. We'll do whatever we have to do. We'll be all right.
So Carl Edwards has some concerns, and rightfully so. He's now 13 seconds behind the race leader, Kyle Busch, and he is running in 3rd place.
I really like that comment from Carl saying, hey, it's going to be all right. We'll get it back.
He's getting ready to put Jason Leffler another lap down. Leffler is in 19th position, 2 laps behind. Elliott Sadler has just been put a lap down. He is running in 10th. Mark Martin is next to go a lap down. Can you believe how devastating Kyle Busch has been in the last 2 races? I think it just shows the depth of this race team at Joe Gibbs Racing that we saw last year with this new car. Maybe they weren't exactly what they needed to be, but they are certainly on it this year. Let's talk about the motorsports calendar while we got a chance. NASCAR Now tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern and Monday at midnight, both on ESPN2. And then the Tire Kingdom NHRA Gator Nationals. Kurt Busch makes his pro stock debut. He's going to be driving for the Alan Johnson team in a Dodge. Qualifying can be seen Saturday at midnight on ESPN2. The final Sunday, March 13th, 6 Eastern on ESPN2. And then we're going to take a week off, but we'll be back in Bristol Saturday on March 19th, 1 o'clock Eastern, for our next nationwide race. Caution is out on the racetrack right now here on lap 65 of 200. Waiting for official word. We've got fluid on the racetrack. We see some of the vehicles heading out from pit road down in turns 1 and 2. And our race leader, Kyle Busch, is going to lose that big lead.
A big break for Carl Edwards now. He can catch back up after that long green flag pit stop he had, but he's moved his way back up to 3rd, and looks like his car is really good.
Big break for Elliott Sadler, too. He will get the lucky dog. That'll give us 10 cars back on the lead lap. We had a 57-lap green flag stretch there, and all it proved was Kyle Busch is still the guy to beat.
He is crushing these guys.
You want to talk about how dominant he really is. We mentioned the fact there'll be 10 cars on the lead lap. Back in 18th spot is where it begins 2 laps down with Stephen Wallace, Jason Leffler, Ryan Truex, among others. ready for another round of pit stops here as everybody's going to take advantage. And let's check in with Dr. Jerry Punch.
All right, pit stops under caution. First time, fuel only for the 31 car, Justin Allgaier. They going to make a slight chassis adjustment. So the car is hitting the splitter in both ends, knocking the car loose. Now, triple pits. Top of your screen, Kevin Harvick says the right rear tire is hung out. They're going to lower the track bar, and for the first time today, put on scuffs. Jamie.
And Kyle Busch in the 18. Fuel only. They're going to go one round down on the track bar and clean that grill. Vince?
The 20 car of Denny Hamlin, they put right sides on it only, made a track bar adjustment as well to secure that middle and exit. As far as the 60 of Carl Edwards, he said, you got to snug me up a little bit more. They made sure those lug nuts were good and tight this time. He had a little vibration last time. 4 tire change for Carl and put a little more fuel in there as well.
Yeah, and you saw it cost him 2 spots coming off pit road. No tires for Kyle Busch or Justin Allgaier. And a few other guys decided to take 4 tires as well. All right, so as we get ready to take a break, let's go over the wall with Sean Pete. He's the jack man for Mark Martin. Stay with us. A lot more action coming your way from Las Vegas.
Beautiful day in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway NASCAR Nationwide Series under caution for the second time in the race as we approach the midway point. Get ready to go back to green. Kyle Busch has been the dominator of the day so far. Reminder that ABC's NBA Sunday Showcase has got 2 games featuring 4 teams that are going to be there in the postseason.
I agree with you. The Miami Heat struggling a little bit, coming off a terrible loss last night. And the Spurs looking to continue dominance out there in the West Coast. Doing a great job.
2 must-see NBA games on ABC tomorrow. Coverage starts at 12:30 Eastern with the Buick Regal NBA Countdown. Get ready to go back racing with Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin doubled up on the front row. A couple of quick themes from this one. Surprised Mark Martin hasn't been up there.
You're absolutely right, AB. I thought that Mark Martin would be in the mix early and be able to get up and contend and beat on Kyle Busch's bumper a little bit, but just has not been able to get that thing going forward. Hopefully he'll get better as the second half comes on here.
Mark pondering on the team radio a bit ago that didn't know if a set of tires just didn't match up well with the car. What he said, car hadn't done that all weekend until that run.
That's not good.
But he's lined up in 7th on the lead lap. Some guys took the wave around, got themselves back in things. Danica Patrick, guys and gals. Brad Keselowski had a penalty earlier. Kenny Wallace took the wave around, and we are set for our restart.
Those wave arounds you mentioned, Alan, a total now of 13 cars on the lead lap, 3 wide back in the middle of the field, and a good battle up front between Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, the teammates side by side. Justin Allgaier in the 31. He's in 3rd, the 6th car. That's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Look out, got a little close right there with his Roush Fenway teammate.
Be interesting to see. We have another caution if Kyle Busch is the leader. If he chooses that outside again, he was able to take the lead a while ago from the inside spot after Kevin Harvick chose the outside. Having a tough time with his teammate here.
Well, Denny's car's been working extremely well on the very bottom of the racetrack the whole race. So I think that's one reason you're seeing this. He's been able to just glue that left front right on that white line.
Question is, will he be able on the right side of your screen to lead the lap, become our 4th different leader? And the answer to that question will be yes. So our 5th lead change, and now Denny Hamlin takes over the top spot. Left side of your screen, that's the battle for 6th. We were talking about Mark Martin down in the pit studio with the guys, and Mark trying to fight his way back.
Yeah, one of those cars that took 2 tires. We'll see how this works. That might be an option if it works pretty good that some other teams will choose later on.
Well, that's the difference up front. Denny Hamlin took right side tires and Kyle Busch just took fuel. And now this is kind of the first indication we get on how that's going to work.
Yeah, and they'll look in their mirror. They'll see a guy that took 4 tires. That's Carl Edwards coming to him.
I think Carl was forced to take 4 tires because he really felt like he had a loose wheel. So they had to change them all to make sure they get that loose wheel off of the car. But it might pay off for it.
Right now you saw Carl, that's 0.8 of a second. That's what it looks like on your screen. A little bit further back and forth is Ricky Stenhouse and Justin Allgaier rounding out the top 5. So we're seeing some nationwide regulars in the mix here. In fact, 4th, 5th, 6th with Sorensen in 6th place. All those contesting for the championship. You saw also the 11 Ryan Scott is back out on track as well. Remember, he brushed the wall earlier. On board right now is Stephen Wallace. He's in 19th position, 1 lap down.
He's one of those drivers that took that wave around there. You see just up in front of him, Brad Keselowski also took that wave around, as you mentioned, and back on the lead lap. They'll have to have a little bit of help in making this strategy play out, but they've got quite a few laps before that has to happen.
Yeah, that was a perfect time to take that wave around because it hadn't been too many laps since they pitted. They were able to just get back out there, start on the tail end. It seems like the tires are holding up well. Kyle Busch still running second on the same tires that he changed under that green flag stop.
On board with Reed Sorensen, his Turner Motor Speed teammate right in front of him. Whoa, little loose as the 31 wiggles. Here comes Reed.
You're having to drive these things so hard, and you get that little bit of a wiggle. I mean, it's everything you can do to hold on to the car. She's doing a nice job, though, coming back on the outside, keeping Reed pinned down.
Let's make it 3 Turner Motorsports cars. Mark Martin in the mix now as well.
That's what you want. All your cars running good. You'd like to have them a little bit closer to the front, but they're there 5th, 6th, and 7th right now.
Reed Sorensen took 4 tires on that last caution flag stop.
Mark gets around the 31, so move him up a spot. So right now it would be 5th, 6th, and 7th. How about checking in on the battle for 2nd? Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, as Edwards has gotten around Kyle. What is going on here? Let's get an update on the 61st. Vince.
Well, Carl Edwards has been pretty happy with his race car, although he said he just needs to snug it up a little bit. He felt like, they were able to do that with a couple of track bar adjustments on those previous stops. Just that the fuel probe cost them some spots on that long pit stop. They had the issue with the vibration when they felt like maybe they didn't get the lug nuts on tight on that stop. So he's had some problems, but as far as the way the car is handling, Carl Edwards is pretty happy right now. He's on the move.
I spoke with Mike Beam, his crew chief, yesterday, and he was talking about when they were here Thursday and trying to get across the bumps, that they tried to free the car up a little bit to get it to turn. They said they lost speed in trying to do that. So there we hear once again they're tightening this race car up and forgetting about what it takes to get across the bumps, but got to have it where Carl can drive it hard.
Yeah, we saw him lower the track bar on that one stop that they made under green.
Mike Beam on the right. Carl Edwards leading the charge for the Ford camp right now. Beam won here in the trucks with Travis Quapple back in 2007. We mentioned that Carl's carrying the Ford banner here on the Nationwide Series. One of the guys that carries it over in drag racing is with Jamie Little.
That's right, 15-time NHRA champion John Force, his daughter Courtney Force, and her husband and fellow competitor Robert Hight joining us. So, John, what do you think of the action here on race day for NASCAR compared to you guys who's just outside the track?
They got me ducking. Robert Hyde, he understands NASCAR. We're trying to teach Courtney, but it's like a drag race, except there's 40 cars out there, and on the straightaway, it's a drag race. I don't know what they do in the corners, but when they come into the pits, I'm ducking. This is unbelievable.
Look at his enthusiasm. They're standing down here taking it all in. Thanks for being here. Good luck to you. April 1st to the 3rd, they'll be right here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Marty?
And Jamie, I don't want to give Robert Hight's wife, Adria, a heart attack. Courtney's not married to Robert, but it's an honest mistake. Poor Adria's back at home going, what? All right, let's get an update on Denny Hamlin. Vince, what are you hearing?
Well, Denny Hamlin's in the front. He only runs a couple of nationwide races each year, but he's knowing where to go. He's putting it right to the front, and his Cup crew chief, Mike Ford, is watching. Are you just being an interested spectator, or is there something you can learn today, Mike, for the race tomorrow?
Yeah, it's strictly spectator at this point. You came down to watch this interstate crew. It's our pit crew on there today. We made a couple changes from last year and just kind of evaluating that. Didn't go too well to start, but it looked like they came back. Watching Denny run, we've always practiced well here, but it seems to go loose in the race, and it seems like he's got that today too. So it's going to help us adjust for tomorrow. But just enjoying a good race here in Vegas.
Thanks, Mike. And guys, remember, they're running the same tire here in the Nationwide car that they'll run tomorrow in the Cup race. Maybe a little something you can learn there as the race goes on.
Well, Carl Edwards is just taking the lead away from Denny.
Yeah, and that's what he's learning. We're seeing now, I talked to Jason Radcliffe, the crew chief for Kyle Busch, who's now 3rd, about this tire strategy, and he really felt like that track position and clean air was going to be worth way more than tires. But that's not the way it's working out. I mean, right now we see Carl Edwards with 4 tires, just past Denny Hamlin, who's got 2 tires on that last stop, and then you see Kyle Busch, who took no tires. So it looks like that's going to be a real important issue for him.
Well, Kyle, as you look on the left side of your screen, you see the 62 of Michael Annett and the 31 of Justin Allgaier going after it. Kyle has slipped back. He led 59 laps early here, but now he's almost 2 seconds behind. Let's listen in on his radio.
Something weird's going on. It gets down into the corner and like loading the front end and pushing, and then just loose.
So that's Kyle's radio as he's trying to track down race leader Carl Edwards. There he is, almost 2 full seconds behind. Jamie, are you getting any update from his pit on exactly what the problem is?
Well, they've been adjusting on this race car. It wasn't too bad early on, but they have been making track bar adjustments for a loose car. But you hear him there. He's sliding the nose. It won't turn in the front, getting into the corner, and then it just snaps loose, and it's getting worse, Marty.
Yeah, one thing that happens on these bumpy tracks, you see right there, he's fighting the wheel over the bumps, is that these cars are different than the Cup cars in that they don't use bump stops. They have to stop that suspension travel by just the coil spring collapsing and coil binding. So that can bend parts, and you can have all kinds of issues with the kind of loads and speeds that we're seeing here. And I don't know if that's happening to Kyle or whether this really is just an issue of him not having fresh tires like these other cars in front of him.
Well, we're working lap 85 of 200, and he has cut back the margin to 1.4 seconds. Let's go back to the moment on board with Carl Edwards. You can see how he's wiggling there.
Yeah, it's just not a fair fight. He's trying on these old tires and full of fuel, and that just makes the car extremely loose. And as soon as Carl got a little bit close to him, it made his car even looser yet.
Still there.
So tires may become an issue after all. Meanwhile, up front, Carl Edwards has opened up a half a second lead over Denny Hamlin. There's your top 5, and we're getting closer to the halfway mark here in Las Vegas. Things are heating up here at Las Vegas after 91 of 200 laps as we've got Carl Edwards in front of Kyle Busch. You can see him right there, running first and second. A total of 13 cars on the lead lap. 13 are also behind the wall or officially out of this race. On board with Kyle. Behind them is Denny Hamlin, but he has now dropped back 1.8 seconds from the race lead. And here comes Kyle knocking on the door as he is somehow the handling's come to him, or is Carl's car fading a little?
Well, what I think it is the cream just rising to the top. I believe that Kyle really does have the best car. Those fresh tires on Carl's car were able to kind of even things out, maybe even send him out in front. But as they run a lot of laps, that advantage does diminish, and I think it has now, and you'll see now that they're really close together.
Between these two, they have 22 wins combined on the mile-and-a-half tracks, but neither has won here in the Nationwide Series yet. Back in third place, we mentioned the fact Denny Hamlin, 1.9 seconds back. And then in fourth place, as we go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance, let's start off with Ricky Stenhouse. Jamie?
Having a heck of a race so far. Ooh, did you see him twitch right there? And he caught it. When they unloaded on Thursday, the car was so good. He was top 3 for the first 3 practice sessions. They threw in the towel and said they didn't need to practice for that happy hour session yesterday. The car was good until the race today. It has been extremely loose, as you saw the twitch. They've been adjusting on it. He's just saying, guys, I need some help to tighten it up. Doc?
Back in 5th position, the all-time winningest driver in NASCAR Nationwide Series history, Mark Martin, making his first ever start in this new generation car. Now, when the race began, Mark said the car was so loose he couldn't drive it. It was sideways. They have made 2 pit stops, major track bar and air pressure adjustments, and guess what? Mark says the car is getting close. Watch out when Mark says the car is getting close. Jamie.
And Reed Sorensen told me pre-race he really didn't know what to expect with this car. He's back in the 30 for the first time this year, working with a new crew chief and a different crew. Remember, he is the series points leader. But the car right now, he's saying, is loose. We're hearing that from a lot of teams as the sun continues to come out brighter, and it is getting warmer down here, Doc.
31 car, Justin Allgaier, talked about starting in 10th position, drove it all the way to 3rd position, but he says the car is actually hitting down on what he calls a splitter, the front air dam. And the car has been bouncing, getting sideways in the corner, guys.
And all of a sudden, we got Danica Patrick coming into pit road, and they are working on the right side. Doc?
Yeah, Danica said the car is starting to get very loose in turn 3 under throttle. Remember, she did not come in and pit under caution on lap 66. She stayed out to get the wave around. She came down pit road running in 12th position. 4 tires. She's away.
And that will put her back a lap down as Kyle Busch continues to motor right behind Carl Edwards. Edwards first, and Kyle still trying to find a way to get around him. Almost to halfway here, and here we go. Kyle's making another run.
You see from that shot right there how Carl really gets down into the center of the corner, but then seems that Kyle picks the throttle up a little bit sooner, and that kind of equals back out as they get back off of the exit of turn 2 and turn 4.
Both cars go around the 41 of Carl Long. Long is 27 laps down in 33rd position. Mike Wallace, he also now 24th position as he's going to go 5 laps down. Battle for 7th on the left side of your screen. Brad Keselowski, remember, he had the penalty that did not help his cause any. Stayed out, got the wave around. So again, he may be one of those guys that may need to come in pretty soon for fuel. Vince, what are you hearing?
Yeah, he did just make that one pit stop on lap 47, so he's a little bit out of sequence compared to some of the others, particularly a guy like Carl Edwards. But Keselowski's not been unhappy with the car, just a little bit loose on entry. And as you mentioned, guys, that speeding penalty on pit lane was costly for the defending series champion.
Well, it has. It's put him in this position where he had to take that wave around, and now he's probably got about 15 or so laps less fuel than the other leaders. Uh-oh.
Whoa! Look out! Contact!
How's the nose? How's the nose?
The 81 you saw from the onboard camera. That's Donnie Neuenberger.
Hit anything? Nope.
That was a separate incident where Donnie and then everybody checked up.
Looks like Keselowski may have gotten in the wall as well as to the back of that car.
Well, because when Sorensen checked up, Brad had nowhere to go. Let's go back and take another look, this time from high above.
Brad racing Reed pretty hard here, working the outside. Oh, it does happen right in front of him. Nope, he didn't get the wall. Looks like there was just minor contact between Keselowski and Reed Sorensen.
That's what it looked and sounded like from trackside. And here was the view we saw, and it did look like harder contact than it ended up.
Yeah, it sure looked like it.
Low. Keep coming. Keep coming.
Been a lot of damage done, but pretty much looks okay there. These cars are pretty tough.
Yeah, Boy was right. Both of them dodged a bullet, and so did some of these other cars that had stayed out on the wave around, and now they'll get to come in and get topped off. Doc, we're going to send it to you.
All right, we're going to show you 3 cars coming down pit road at one time. We're going to have the top of your screen. It'll be a 32 car Mark Martin. But below him will be Kyle Busch, then Keselowski, and then we'll cover the 60 car of Carl Edwards. We're going to top it off with Sunoco fuel. Remember, it's E15 fuel. Mark Martin's in the car, still loose. They're going to go another 3/4 of a round on the track bar and 4 tires. Jamie.
And Kyle Busch, they're still trying to get that loose condition out of the race car. Track bar down again. 4 tires, 1 round of wedge, and they're only going to put a little bit over 1 can of fuel, Vince.
The 22 of Brad Keselowski, no real damage. They're going to just make a 4-tire change for Keselowski. No air pressure adjustment, no changes, just 4 tires and fuel. Now the 60 of Carl Edwards, they're going to make a track bar adjustment, and they made 4 tires again on the 60 of Carl Edwards. He said, just snug it up a tick. Marty?
Well, Carl is going to drop 2 spots on the race off pit road. Kyle picks up the spot, Denny also. And then Mark Martin, Reed Sorensen, Elliott Sadler picks up 3. And you see that Kenny Wallace doing a good job again as he is picking up 2 spots on the race off pit road. Michael Annette's going to get the dog, and it looks like we're going to end up with about 13 on the lead lap. Stay with us. We'll be back with after this message and a word from your ABC station. 1 week ago in the desert of Phoenix, Arizona, Kyle Busch led every single lap, all 200. In fact, for the weekend, well, he won the truck race, won the nationwide race, finished 2nd in the cup race. And then we came here, and yeah, it was a good start to a long day as he led the first huge portion of the race. He's led a total of 61 laps right now as he has worked his way back into the lead, although we have had 3 other leaders besides Kyle and 7 lead changes. And we welcome you back to the Sam's Town 300 at Las Vegas. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Total of 13 cars on the lead lap. Michael Annett, remember he got busted for speeding on lap 47. He's in 13th position. We had a total of 5 waiver rounds. Long, Patrick, Hill, Leffler, Truex. And that means several of those are now just 1 lap down, including Leffler, Truex, and Danica Patrick. All right, so let's get ready. It'll be Kyle Busch, and Kyle has decided to take the low end. Denny Hamlin will be on the high side. Then it'll be Edwards, Martin, Sorensen, Sadler, Keselowski, Allgaier, Bain, Wallace, Kenny Wallace, that is. That is your top 10. As they come to the line, green flag flies. We're back to racing at Las Vegas. Low line works again for Kyle. Another good restart. Takes the lead coming out of 2. Right behind him, Denny Hamlin. Down low, that's Carl Edwards. And Mark Martin has worked his way back into the mix. He's got Reed Sorensen in the 30 right underneath him.
See Elliott Sadler there pushing Mark Martin up through there. Elliott worked on his car some, made it a little better after he got the wave around back on the lead lap.
Justin Allgaier right behind Elliott in that 31. Underneath Allgaier's the 22 of Brad Keselowski.
See Kevin Harvick in that mix. He took time to make some pretty major adjustments. Don't know exactly what they did, but it was a lengthy pit stop that he made.
Let's get an update from pit road. What are you hearing, Doc?
Well, Kevin Harvick has been struggling all day with the handling on the car. Listen to what he said just a moment ago.
Just had to do something because, I mean, it's so freaking loose you can't drive it. 10-4. We'll do anything in the world for you, buddy. I'm not doing these changes for it to go the other way on you. We'll do anything in the world we can for you. I understand that, but we weren't doing anything, so we had to do something big. This is a big adjustment here. Surely it'll do something, don't you think?
And that was David Hyder, the crew chief. They came in on that previous caution flag and set on pit road 38 seconds. They raised the car up on the jacks and lowered the track bar on both the right and left side to try to fix the loose condition. Took their time. Hopefully it's going to help Kevin Harvick.
Well, 2 cars that are all around him are, boy, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. moving forward, and the 62 of Michael Annett was coming on strong.
Yeah, Michael Annett has a fast race car. He passed a lot of cars on that last run. Even though he was a lap down, he was passing cars that were on the lead lap. See what he can do here.
And just as we sing his praises, he slides back. What's the latest, Vince?
Well, Michael Annett does like his race car. In fact, he said we need to be just a little bit freer, but we are so close. Oh, there's contact both on the wall and on the inside car.
Yeah, Stenhouse slid up, got the outside wall. Doesn't look too serious. Could have been a lot worse. Allgaier falling back on the right side of your screen. Mike Bliss coming up. Bliss is the first car 1 lap down in 14th.
Yeah, and saw Trevor Bain in the 16 really working the steering wheel on his car. These guys, again, having to drive them so hard, just a little bit out of shape, and compounds their problem big time.
Back up front, Kyle Busch leading Carl Edwards. These two, obviously last week, were the main story. If you're just tuning in as we're at the bottom of the hour, we welcome you to Las Vegas Motor Speedway with 91 laps to go. Our race leader is Kyle Busch. We've had 4 leaders, 7 lead changes. Fastest lap was turned in by Kyle at 178. And Mark Martin is in the field, and Mark right now running in the 5th position. He's a total of 4 seconds behind the race lead. 13 cars are either off the track or behind the wall, and we have a total of 13 cars on the lead lap. So that gets you up to date as these two continue to try and pull away from the 3rd place car of Denny Hamlin.
Seeing these 2 cars now, 1 and 2, they're on the same tire strategy as each other, not like it was before where you had Kyle on no tires and Carl on 4. We can really see just how they compared. Pretty close.
Keselowski's got his mirrors full of the 30 right now of Reed Sorensen. Sorensen down on the low side.
Just ahead of that group, Mark Martin still, and he's been like a bulldog today, just trying to keep that car in contention.
There is Mark in the yellow and black 32 as he's trying to get underneath Elliott Sadler in the 2.
Yeah, Elliott had taken that 4th spot away from Mark Martin, but you see Mark battling back here on the bottom.
Elliott needs a big run after the first 2 races did not go the way that team intended.
Keselowski's car looks like it's come to life.
Remember, Brad had that speeding penalty. Well documented, the crash on the practice day, Thursday. And as he continues on, he's right in front of the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse and Reed Sorensen. Sorensen came into this race as the points leader. These 5 sort of calm things down. They're still running pretty much in straight line formation down the backstretch here. There's your top 5 with 87 to go. Stay with us. We'll have a lot more from Las Vegas as the battle is not yet over. Riding on board with Carl Edwards. Let's get you up to date with the motorsports calendar. NASCAR Now will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern and Monday at midnight. All of that on ESPN2. And then next weekend, Tire Kingdom NHRA Gator Nationals. Kurt Busch in his pro stock debut. That should be fun to watch. You'll see qualifying next Saturday, midnight on ESPN2. And the finals Sunday, March 13th, 6 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. And our next stop, we're going to have next week off, but Saturday, March 19th, we'll be at Bristol. Hope to see you there. If not, join us at 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Back here we have 81 laps to go now as Kyle Busch has led a total of 77. He's one of 4 different leaders. He's got a 0.2 of a second lead over that man right there, Carl Edwards. As we take a look at where Roush Fenway Racing is right now, all 3 cars running in the top 12. In fact, let's go nationwide up to speed on the Roush Fenway team. And up first, Vince.
All 3 qualified well. Of course, Carl Edwards started this race from the pole position. And Carl says that he's just been working on trying to get that car snugged up enough throughout the course of the race. They've made track bar adjustments on all 3 pit stops, and he says they're getting really close. Carl Edwards very pleased with his car, and Mike Beam says when you've got a bumpy racetrack, I like my guy in the seat, Carl Edwards. Jamie?
And his teammate Ricky Stenhouse Jr. back in 5th position. He's had a very solid day, but the car has not been to his liking. After so many great practice sessions, the car has been so loose, nothing seemed to work. On the last round of pit stops, they actually worked on the right front toe of this car just to take a big swing at it to make it better. And it is helping as he continues to move forward after losing a couple positions on pit road. Now, one of his best friends and his teammate Trevor Bayne right now back in 12th position. He said he has just barely been hanging on to this race car. He too extremely loose after that last round of stops. They worked on it. They went down on the track bar, took fuel and 4 tires, trying to make the car better, guys. Remember, he's running double duty this weekend. Marty?
And of course, Trevor will be in that Cup race, as you mentioned, starting 16th tomorrow. There is the head man, Jack Roush. He has 14 wins total here at Las Vegas, 6 in Cup, 5 in the Nationwide Series, 3 in the Camping World Truck Series. And of course, the Aviators HD machine with the new sponsorship on the side, trying to fight his way back towards the top 10. That's the front 2, Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards, as these 2, this is almost like deja vu from a week ago. They go around Mike Wallace. Mike is 26th right now, and he is now 5 laps behind. Well, as these 2 continue to motor around, his question is going to be, can anybody give Kyle anything late in the race? Stay with us to find out.
When a job calls for more muscle than a drill, Craftsman impact drivers answer the call, delivering over 3,000 impacts per minute, giving you greater torque for greater force to power through the toughest jobs. Craftsman, trust.
I'll tell you this.
Welcome back here to Las Vegas. We jumped back here because we have just had our 4th caution now. You can hear the spotter saying, don't let off that brake, because everybody's still coming underneath Donnie Neuenberg.
All right, go ahead, roll down. Roll down.
Let's show you what happened here.
All right, get caught up. Come on.
On lap number 125.
Yeah, you can see just down in the middle of 3 and 4, just broke loose again.
Yeah, it's like the same thing happened the last time. He just lost it 1 and 2. Looks like he just lost it 3 and 4 here. Yeah. This was a scary part. He just spun all the way back up across the track. Luckily, nobody was coming.
And the best thing he did was right there, stop and let everybody get underneath him. So no serious damage for anyone on this one, but it does bring out the caution flag, and it's going to mean Brian Scott is going to get the lucky dog. And if you're a Danica Patrick fan, this was the story last week. She is second in line for the lucky dog, and that happened to her several times last week as well. And so as you go on board with Danica, she'll not get back on the lead lap.
Well, not this time, but she's running good lap times. I mean, very competitive. If she keeps at it here, she'll get her break.
She's running in 15th position right now. There are only a total of 19 cars within 1 lap of the lead.
Hey, let me do left here.
Got Trent Owens, Mark Martin's crew chief up on the box. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do here on this pit stop. Mike Beam, Carl Edwards, crew chief.
75 laps to go means we cannot go the distance on this stop, obviously, and so this is the one you want to set up for the money.
You just kind of want to position yourself for that last stop and that last run. This can be a very important pit stop. Tim?
Hey guys, when we're talking about the suspension on the cars and how rough they ride, the reason being is this is an installed inspection spring right here. But as we were talking about, when they're going through the corners, this is what the spring looks like. What's happening then, we're trying to get the aerodynamic advantage of having the air dam right against the ground. But all you're going to see is basically the deflection in the sidewall of the tire. That's all the suspension you got. It is really a rough ride.
All right, Tim, thanks. As he's over in the Craftsman Tech Garage, and we're coming down pit road for pit stops. Doc, let's send it your way.
And as Tim Brewer said, Mark Martin has had a rough ride today. Top of your screen, the car starts out okay after the final adjustment, but then jumps loose and gets very, very loose. They're going to make a major adjustment, air pressure, wedge, track bar, trying to get this car tightened up for Mark Martin. No tires, fuel only. Jamie.
Kyle Busch said this car just isn't turning off the wall. He's a 4 loose, and the changes weren't enough. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, fill it up with Sunoco fuel and 4 tires. Vince?
No tires or adjustments for Denny Hamlin, just fuel, and the same for Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards did have some wedge in the left rear, but no tires and Sunoco fuel for Carl Edwards.
Well, and Edwards is going to hold station, but the big winner is Denny Hamlin as he picks up 2 spots. The big loser, Kyle Busch, taking those 4 tires, but he loses 8 spots in all that track position. And talking to his crew chief, clean air was what they wanted most. Stay with us.
From the pit studio, Best Looking Brad with the 5-hour Energy Rapid Recap. Watch the start of this race. Kevin Harvick, when that 33 wasted no time making it exciting.
Got up on the wheel, got up on the outside, and took off for the lead right away.
Kyle Busch has done most of the leading. Josh Wise took the most air on the day.
Oh, glad to see he was okay. Car wasn't anywhere better for wear, but he was fine.
Big story of the day. It's been Kyle and Carl most of the race. Carl had a long pit stop when they had trouble getting fuel in the car. Remember the new fueling system? Yeah. A lot of the teams still getting adjusted to it. It set Carl way back. He has since recovered, not just to contend, but to lead. At one point, he was running second when the caution came out just a minute ago. Other guys who've had interesting days. Brad Keselowski, pit road speeding penalty, barely missed, piling into a wreck there. Yep. He's come back to run. He was 4th at the caution flag a minute ago. Yep. So a lot of ins and outs of this race so far, but for the most part, it's been 2 guys. Now Kyle Busch finds himself, because of strategy, back 9th for this restart.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finds himself in 3rd place. He stayed up around the front of this thing all day long. Mark Martin eases himself into 4th, and Elliott Sadler's 5th.
Before the restart, let's hear from Kyle Busch's team. Jamie, what are they thinking?
They're all strategizing right now. I'm going to get in there with Jason Ratcliffe. As you guys mentioned, though, in the booth, Jason, all the cars ahead of you guys took either 2 or no tires. Why the call to take 4?
I just feel like our adjustments with 4 tires have been helping us. So I want to keep working on it. We got plenty of race left to get back to the front. I want to get our adjustments on the car so that we know what we need to do at the end. If we don't take any tires, last time we didn't take tires, I feel like we were, we were a stop behind on those other guys. So now hopefully this will put us back even. And then, maybe we'll get some pit strategy stuff here late that'll put us back up front.
All right, he feels like tires will make a big difference here. Marty?
All right, thanks, Jamie. 5 waiver rounds. Richardson, Howard, Almirola, Stephen Wallace, Jennifer Jo Cobb. On the point, Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards. We're racing again. back on that 18. Remember, he's got 4 fresh tires, but right now, everybody's sort of in lockstep up front. There's Kyle going to try the high side. Now he's going to come down low. Look out on the apron. Going underneath Keselowski. And he's spinning. He's into the infield.
Hang on to him. Hang on to him. Hold your brake a little bit.
Right here.
Trouble behind, too.
More cars spinning right behind him as well. The 15 of Timmy Hill and the 79 of Jennifer Jo Cobb. And the 79 is torn up.
Well, that's the problem with that kind of strategy. It gets you back on these restarts for Kyle Busch, and that's what can, end your day real quickly.
And there's a lot of damage.
Yeah. It hit pretty hard, that fender.
So it looks like Kyle's winless. It looks like Kyle's winless streak is going to continue here in the Nationwide Series. He led 43 laps last year before crashing and finishing 16th. He's led 84 laps today, and here's what happened.
He's up on the high side, but he's going to make a move down all the way down below the 22 of Brad Keselowski. Brad comes down. That forces Kyle, and he got just the left side tires into the grass, send him spinning here. Looked like he was going to be okay right here.
And then, bam. Let's go on board with Kevin Harvick.
Out.
From Kyle's on board.
This gets such a huge draft right here and run. This is not unusual, but when Brad came down to try to block a little bit, that's what forced Kyle down into the grass.
Hang on to it. Hang on to it. Hold the brake a little bit.
And that's a close-up view of the wall you never want to see. And there's what happened behind. Different angle. When that splitter catches.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Keselowski knew that he was there. He got there so quickly.
Another view.
It's almost like as soon as Keselowski saw him, he moved up to give him room, but it was too late.
Yeah. Kyle had already committed turning just a little bit.
Now behind this, you see Kyle spinning, hitting the wall. You saw Jennifer Jo Cobb. And I believe it was the 15 car.
Timmy Hill.
Timmy Hill, yeah, they got together.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Third car involved as well. And it looks like... Well, there's Jennifer Jo climbing out of her damaged race car. 68 laps to go. We're under our 5th caution. Stay with us after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back in the garage area, Kyle Busch's crew looks over the damage. The radiator is severely wounded. It does not look good for the 18 getting back into this race. And, of course, chances of winning are out the door. Take another look and watch the 22. There was enough room there, I think, don't you?
Well, there was, but he saw Brad Keselowski coming down. He was trying to give him enough room so that they didn't get together right there. And it just caught a little bit of that grass, but it was enough to send him spinning.
Yeah, if he doesn't catch the grass, he's okay.
I actually thought he saved it after that, but just kind of yanked around to the left and he hit that wall.
Well, here his finishes as best as we mentioned back in 07 when he came home in second and he crashed at the checkered flag in that one. And it looks like that string of winless is going to continue here for Kyle. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Well, what we've learned today here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway is if you're going to plow, you better bring a tractor because race cars aren't faring real well. And Kyle Busch is the latest example as he went through the infield grass and then tagged the inside wall, and they are back in the garage, and it looks like their day is done. We can tell you as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, we will have 14 cars on the lead lap. Jason Leffler, remember when he was 2 laps down? Well, we got the wave around the last time by at 103, and now he gets the lucky dog. He is the last car on the lead lap. How about Denny Hamlin? He's going to take over the point with Carl Edwards right alongside. There you see Denny in the number 20. And he's got a little history. He won his first career nationwide race 5 years ago today in Mexico City. And of course, Carl Edwards was racing real hard with Kyle Busch. Here was his comments when he found out Kyle was out.
Well, I was having fun racing with him. That's too bad.
Yeah, no, it's a good race.
I'm sure Denny will pick up right where he left off.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he will. And right behind those two, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in a real strong run. And do not count out the man in fourth place, Mark Martin. In fact, let's hear from his crew chief, Doc.
Well, Marty, yesterday Trent Owens told me, he said, if you get Mark Martin close enough, he does the rest and can win the race. Have you gotten him close enough here that made that major adjustment on the last stop?
Well, yesterday we thought, we had a shot at this thing. Unfortunately, when the race started, we were really, really loose. So, been a pleasure working with Mark. He can get the job done if we get him close enough. But we got a little work to do to hang with the 60 into 20. But here to go green, so we'll see what happens.
All right, Mark, a restart for it, guys.
And no green flag flies. Denny Hamlin on the inside leads him down.
See, once again, the leader choosing that inside lane where we saw earlier in the race that they chose that outside, but they've been able to hold it wide open pretty much through that corner.
Looked like some other cars behind the leaders were ready to go before they were.
Kevin Harvick took a look down very low, slid back into position. Down into 3, still side by side.
Well, Hamlin got a great run through.
Whoa, look out!
There.
Mark Martin gets a little nudge, gets loose and into the wall. Does not look like it's going to be serious, though. He's going to lose a spot or two. Looking back from Reed Sorensen. Oh, in trouble. Stephen Wallace goes around after some contact.
A little damage here.
Little. Right corner and the left
front
corner.
damage here. Still rolling.
Got more damage on that right front fender. 4 flaps, it looks like.
Yeah. Down.
Spin.
Is the tire down?
He was 15th.
Take all 4 down. I'm coming to you.
He was 15th, 1 lap down.
To us, guys. Need to try to beat the pace car out. Just tires here, pull them away.
Let's go back and take a look and see what happened to Steven.
Oh, looks like he gets in the back of Ryan Truex, I believe it is.
Truex took some damage on this one, too. Here's another view.
Yeah, I can see Steven getting a run off the corner here. Let's see if Truex just a little bit loose. Yeah, and has to check up just a little, and then Steven got into him.
That's Mike Bliss in the 19 sliding by.
Yeah, Eric Almirola. Those two were pretty lucky that Steven was able to save that and not come down into them.
One more view.
See, everybody in this group racing hard. Well, it looks like Truex did hit that wall hard.
From Steve Wallace is on board.
7 just looking.
Right there.
Be careful. Be careful.
Check up just enough.
Yeah, he heard Steven check up too, but just not quick enough to not hit Ryan Truex.
A little damage here.
And it looks like this time we will see some cars coming down pit road, including Mark Martin in the 32. Remember, he brushed the wall earlier. Doc?
And they're going to go ahead and put their final set of Goodyears on it and top it off with Sunoco fuel. Go ahead and make an adjustment air pressure-wise. Mark said the car's okay damage-wise. Not happy, though, with Elliott Sadler with that incident a moment ago. Vince?
The 22 of Brad Keselowski's been playing catch-up all weekend from the accident on Thursday to the early pit road speeding penalty today. Right side tires and Sunoco fuel for the 22 of Brad Keselowski.
8.7 seconds on the clock as they come back out onto the track. We can tell you that Stephen Wallace is back out after they put 4 tires on and pulled the fenders out. And the 99 of Ryan Truex, who was also involved, they are still on pit road. The lucky dog is going to go to Danica Patrick. That'll give us 15 cars on the lead lap. Stay with us. Good crowd on hand today for the Nationwide Series event, and a sellout tomorrow for the Sprint Cup action with 58 laps to go. Jamie Little has caught up with a very disappointed Kyle Busch.
And he has changed. They are finished for the day. And Kyle, that was a pretty bold move from the outside inside. What happened after that?
I had a really big run off the top, and I didn't want to go to the outside. I wanted to kind of get down and be on the bottom so I could get to the white line in turn 1. But Didn't even make it that far. I got to the bottom of the 22, I guess, and he came to block a little bit, and just I didn't want to run into him, so I went to the grass, and I know that the grass typically doesn't work, so I look kind of stupid doing that, but tried to hang on to it and just couldn't get it back straight in enough time and got in the inside wall. So I hate it for the guys and all the guys at Z-Line Designs and everybody that was out here cheering for us today. Unfortunately, it just I screwed up, and that's why I run these races, so I can learn and not do it tomorrow.
You could do it over again. Would you take 4?
Yeah, I mean, it was a point in the race where we needed to do that. It doesn't matter that we were back that far. You've still got 70-something laps to go. You know, I just thought, hey, I got a great opportunity. I got a big run here. I might as well capitalize on it and get past 2 cars while I can right now and not waste any more time than I have to.
All right, Kyle Busch is out. Marty?
He's one of 14 cars that are either behind the wall or officially listed as out. Up front of the 15 cars, still on the lead lap, Denny Hamlin will lead them down with Carl Edwards, Ricky Stenhouse, Elliott Sadler, and Reed Sorensen, your top 5. Green flag flies. Here we go again. Log jam, they're checking up. Everybody going to make it through. So far, so good. Damage on the front nose of the 33, though.
Comes Reed Sorensen to the inside. They may be 4 wide here down the back straightaway. Look at this.
Hang on. Something's got to give. Sorensen going for the front point position, and Carl Edwards says, you got to get past me first. Somehow all 4 of them made it.
Yeah, they made it. And they've got, these guys have got winning in their sights now. You know, not that Carl Edwards and Denny Hamlin are pushovers. They've got Kyle Busch out of this race. They think they can go win now.
Well, there's a lot of damage on that 33 of Kevin Harvick.
And look at Stenhouse. Big run off of turn 2 now, going for second.
Stenhouse in second. There goes Denny Hamlin down low. And there on the right side, you can see the 33 of Kevin Harvick.
Getting into one, and
yeah, that was that log
he
jam.
was digging and I was zagging.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
A lot of damage.
So Kevin's chance of repeating. Let's go back and show you exactly what happened to Kevin. You're on board with him.
You see, he just hits high gear right there. You want to stay wide open, but they got jammed up just in front of him. Outside of Brian Scott.
And there's the damage as he heads straight for the garage area. Meanwhile, out in front, it is Carl Edwards. Ricky Stenhouse, the Roush Fenway Fords running 1-2.
Hey, that lap right there, Stenhouse really close on Carl Edwards in 3 and 4 especially. Let's see what he can do in 1 and 2. Working that high lane.
In third, it is the Toyota of Denny Hamlin, then the Chevy of Reed Sorensen, the Toyota of Michael Annett rounds out the top 5. And sing the praises of Michael Annett. Remember when he had the penalty and he was down a lap. He's got his best run going since coming over to RWR. Left side of your screen, the battle for 10th between Trevor Bayne and Mark Martin. On the right side, Carl Edwards has opened up a little more room. Battle for 8th now as we focus in on Brad Keselowski. He's trying to hold off the 31 of Justin Allgaier. Still, almost just over a quarter of the race remaining here. Mark Martin and Trevor Bayne continue knocking on each other's door. Mark in the 10th spot, Trevor 11th.
I saw Mark Martin put a spring rubber in the left rear when they changed those 4 tires. And with that pit stop, Mark Martin could possibly make it to the end of the race. He'll be right at the end or the edge of his window, but the other leaders cannot make it on the fuel load they have.
Yeah, here are the cars that stopped on lap 140. Brad, and then Justin Allgaier, Mark Martin, Trevor Bayne, Jason Leffler, Danica Patrick. I mean, there's a few cars that could fall into that mix.
Like Trevor Bayne got way up out of the groove in 3 and 4.
I saw him down in 1 and 2. He went in right behind Mark Martin and lost a nose down there and lost a lot of time.
Yeah, he may have a problem.
Well, Jason Leffler has gotten around him. Let's find out what's going on. Jamie.
And Trevor Bayne, guys, I just checked in with the team. You know, he's been fighting this loose race car. But as you mentioned, he topped off on lap 141. The team right now thinks they are going to be a couple laps short as Mike Bliss goes to the inside.
Right there is Mike Bliss in the 19. Now Bliss is the first car 1 lap down. He is running in 15th position. You're on board with Danica Patrick. She is running 13th right now.
Yeah, she finally got her break, got that lap back, and she's got a fast race car, so she may be able to work her way possibly even into the top 10 before the end of the race.
Well, Kevin Harvick is back in the garage area, and so is Dr. Jerry Punch.
Yeah, surveying the damage on his the front of his Chevy. Kevin, what happened? We saw the restart. Looked like it was a jumble up there.
Yeah, they checked up, and I guess 2 or 3 cars back, and I was going down, and I just caught the left rear of, I think it was the 11. But hey, for all the Rheem Chevrolet guys, it was a disastrous weekend. I guess that's appropriate the way that it ended.
Major adjustment on pit road that last time. Did you help the car finally? I know you've been battling loose all day.
Yeah, we helped it, but we spent 2 days here and didn't get enough practice to work on our cars, so just did a terrible job all weekend.
All right, last year's winner out of it here, guys.
And Doc, while you were talking to him, the 3-car battle just continues with Brian Scott in the 11. There's Justin Allgaier right behind him, and Mark Martin. That is for 8th, 9th, and 10th on the racetrack. 48 laps remaining now, and now Allgaier going to the high side and taking the spot away from Brian.
You saw that damage to Kevin Harvick's car. That came off the back bumper of Brian Scott in that 11. Don't see a lot of damage on his car, though.
Want to see the gap up to first? That's what it looks like. Carl Edwards with Ricky Stenhouse running in second. Roush Fenway has finished 1-2 twice here. Stay with us after this message and a word from our ABC station. Series premiere of Secret Millionaire. It's tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on ABC. On board with Danica Patrick, and this is a battle for position. She is running in the 12th spot. Trevor Bayne right ahead of her there in 11th.
Ford, just get back in with him here. We will get him there.
They went about 2-3 laps where they were literally door handle to door handle. He finally opened up a little room, but here she comes again.
Yeah, and she's doing the smart thing. She's racing hard. She's been up beside a couple of times, but that's a dangerous spot to get yourself into. But between the bumps and losing aero tightness off of your car, you can get yourself in trouble. So she'll make another run at him and try to take that 11th spot again.
Kind of a twofold thing. You don't want to go in there and make a mistake, but Trevor Bayne really struggling with his car. She really needs to get by Trevor Bayne. What's she saying, Doc?
Well, she has done just an incredible job, as you guys are saying up there, Andy, and particularly because the car has been very loose across the bumps in turn 1, and they've had trouble getting front grip with the car. But Tony Eury Jr. has been very much the cheerleader, watching her ever so gently move in now on Trevor Bayne. He said, patience, patience, patience. If she makes this pass and continues this run, she could log her career best finish here in the Nationwide race, where she finished outside the top 35 a year ago.
Now, her career best, if you remember, would be Daytona, the season opener, when she came home 14th. And here we go again, side by side.
I need you to really concentrate on keeping it on the line. Get to the corner, enter the door. Now roll that line there. I need you to stay on that line. Enter the door, stay on the line down there.
Yeah, what she can learn, you see her get a little bit loose on the exit of turn.
There you go. Use the air. You know he's going to push the center off here, so just nice and patient here.
Not missing anything up front. Carl Edwards' lead is still 1.4 seconds. This is one of the best battles we have on the racetrack.
Outside by himself, we are catching slow cars up high ahead. He's at your door. Still up on the wall there at your door.
Heard him mention lap traffic.
Still just there by himself. No pressure behind him. Slow car up high there. Slow car up high. There you go. Keep on the outside of you there.
She might be able to use Robert Richardson as a pick. Got a pick right here. She's staying the gas. She's going to make the pass.
Door, outside, at your bumper, still there. Clear, clear, clear.
And she slides up in front of him. The spotter really helped there.
Well, she did a great job right there. You know, very patient but aggressive. She did what she needed to do to get by Trevor. She needs to now just set her sights on the next car in front.
And that would be Brian Scott in the 11th. She's got a little lap traffic to deal with also out there. That's the 81 of Donnie Neuenberger. He is in 27th, 9 laps down. He's had a couple of spins out there today. Race lead is still Carl Edwards as we were watching this. It's 1.3 seconds now over Denny Hamlin. Checking in right now with Ricky Stenhouse, who's running in third, 2.4 seconds behind the race lead. Jamie, what are you hearing?
Well, he started the race at third, and then he's been struggling with the car that was so loose. He's often had to hold his breath, but the team took a big swing at it the last round of stops, and now he has some confidence.
The crowd here is awesome. Yeah, it really is. Wanted to come see your first win, bud.
Copy. Not too sure how many are from Mississippi.
Having a little fun on the radio there. He's saying the car is actually getting a little bit tight now as Ricky Stenhouse continues to drive around in third position. Marty?
And his hometown of Olive Branch, Mississippi, as he is still 2.3 seconds behind the race leader, Carl Edwards. But it has been a good run for Ricky, dating back to last season. We mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, he has 4 straight top 10s. In fact, that's the longest top 10 streak in the Nationwide Series. So it gives you an idea just how hard it has been to be consistent. He's been doing the job right now.
.29 laps to go in NASCAR Nationwide Series race number 3 for 2011. This one at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Car number 60 is Carl Edwards. He started on the pole. He is out in front. He's not the man who's dominated this race today. He's been one of them. Kyle Busch dominated, but Kyle went out in an accident a little while ago, and now Carl is out in front of Denny Hamlin by a little over 1 second. From the pit studio with Brad Doherty, really, this race has come down to Carl and Denny Hamlin for now. Denny hasn't shown the ability to jump up there and challenge him in this run.
Yeah.
But that could all reset at any moment.
Well, I believe it could, Alan. I do think, though, we're going to get into some fuel mileage issues as we close in on these last few laps. It's going to be interesting to see who can make it to the end without having to go down pit road. And I like Ricky Stenhouse's position in this situation, and Danica Patrick as well. She's back in 11th and is just picking them off as she's coming up through the field.
Stenhouse running in third. Heard from him a couple of minutes ago, having one of his best runs, best career finish in the Nationwide Series for the Mississippi native is a third. He did that at Daytona last July. Another guy that's fascinated me on the day, Brad Keselowski, guy who won the series championship last season. He had a crash on a test day here Thursday, lost most of that day. They repaired the car, spent most of Friday kind of chasing the handling, regrouped. First pit stop of the race, got a speeding penalty, went to the back, came back to the front. Look at the scoring serial, as low as 19th, and he's worked his way back up into the top 5. And again, another one of those guys that could be putting himself in position for a little strategy play, or a caution gets him a little better track position, a chance to make a run at Edwards.
Showing a lot of tenacity today, just has not given up. Like you mentioned, all the trials and tribulations he's had, and he just continues to push forward. And right now, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Speaking of tenacity, Mark Martin right there behind him, restarted as far back as 13th position at that last caution, and Mark has picked his way up to 6th now with 25 laps to go, the all-time leading winner in this series. And I kind of hear that Jaws music playing a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. You know, I don't rule him out. He hasn't had the best car today, but he's having a great run. Let's go back to that 22 story for a minute, Vince. What are they saying in the Penske pits?
That's right, Alan, with crew chief Todd Gordon. Todd, you guys have rallied all weekend long, it seems. How is the car now? You told me before the race I got a 5th place car. Is it a 1st place car ultimately?
We'll keep working on it, see what happens here. The Discount Tire Dodge guys have done a great job putting this thing back together. Had a little incident Thursday, but feel like we'll see how it rolls out here.
You're currently running 5th. It's believed the top 4 have to stop for fuel. What about you? Can you make it to the end?
If it goes green, we're good.
There you go, guys. The 22 might be sitting in the catbird seat, Marty.
All right, thanks, Vince. And while you finish up and we continue to watch the 22 of Brad Keselowski, another one of the stories that continues to develop is the 7 of Danica Patrick. She just got around Brian Scott and took over the 10th position. And only 4 women have ever finished in the top 10 in the Nationwide Series race. The last one, Tina Gordon, back in April of 2003 at Talladega.
Well, we just heard Todd Gordon, crew chief for Brad Keselowski, say that they could make it. He pitted on lap 140. Danica pitted 1 lap later at 141, and this team and this this car gets about as good a gas mileage as anybody on the circuit, so she might be able to make it. What are they saying down there, Doc?
Well, look on the pit box. Tony Eury Jr. has a huge smile a moment ago. When I asked him, how are you on fuel, he said, Doc, we have got great fuel. We're okay. We've got an even better race car and a young driver who's learning in a hurry. I think we're definitely going to have a top 10, maybe more. We can make it on fuel. We may have a shot here, guys.
Now, this could get real interesting if it goes green. It's just 22 laps to go.
If this becomes a fuel strategy race, this is exactly how she won at Motegi when she passed Helio Castroneves on the final lap.
Yeah, and I'll say regardless of that, she's done a great job. I watched her work Brian Scott there, and her entry into one that she tried to pass him for a number of laps, she was just a little shallow in that. She couldn't make it happen. Now, I don't know if her spotter told her to arc it in a little bit more, but she really worked that out and finally got the run that she needed.
Look how hard she's working this car. I mean, she has really hung in there all day long. Like I said, she dealt with some adversity, had to get a lap down, got her laps back through the lucky dog.
You saw her give the gesture to Mike Wallace. He made way for her. She acknowledged that as she went by. That was the reason for the hand out the window. And she is turning laps right now, 31.8 seconds. That's still off the race lead by about 4 to 5 tenths of a second. But again, if we go green, fuel could play a factor in this one.
Nice and smooth, girl. Got 20 laps to go. 20 laps to go. A lot of people can't make it. You can.
That's Tony Jr. giving her the situation.
The 62 of Michael Annett is in for his stop as he comes down, and he was running very well.
Well, Michael Annett's had a pretty good day today, but you see they had to back him up out of the from being over the line in the pit box to get him back within a regulation area, making a right side tire change and fuel for Michael Annett. He's had a good car, but it's gotten a little loose late.
Yeah, well, that was costly also. So the speeding penalty earlier, now getting a little over the pit box, and that cost him dearly. As there you can see, here comes Carl Edwards, the race leader, and he will end up going at least one lap down, maybe two.
So the two cars that, with Brad Keselowski, know when he can make it. He can kind of soft pedal right here. He doesn't have to race anybody.
Well, Mark Martin's right behind him, though.
Well, I guess they didn't have to race Mark, because Mark pitted on lap 140 as well. That's right.
So all these guys that pitted back on lap 126, we're going to have to keep an eye on their fuel economy. 18 laps to go. That's Brad Keselowski and Mark Martin. Believe it or not, that's the closest battle we have in the lead lap cars, the 13 that are on the lead lap.
Look behind them, the next two would be Allgaier and Danica Patrick that can also possibly make it.
Yeah, and I think maybe Mark might be right now employing a little bit of strategy here. I saw him run up there, and now he's backed off a little bit. I think he's going to make sure that he has the fuel and the tires to make a run at Keselowski when it comes time to win these.
But he might want to try to run him hard enough to maybe make him run out of fuel.
17 laps remaining. And right now, Carl Edwards' lead is 3 seconds, and here comes the 20 of Denny Hamlin as he is coming down pit road. Vince.
Well, the 60 of Carl Edwards isn't expected for another few laps, but the 20 of Denny Hamlin is coming now. As you see, it's going to be just a right side tire change and enough fuel to get Hamlin to the end, keeping in mind the possibility of a green-white checkered. So this green flag stop, the crew's got to be spot on, make it very smooth, no mistakes for the 20 of Denny Hamlin.
8.4 seconds. He's back out on track. Carl Edwards continues to motor. 2.6 seconds his lead over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The 51, we can tell you, is down on pit road. Jeremy Clements, and he stalled the car trying to get it out, and they're trying to give him a push, so that's costly for his effort. He had a pretty decent run going today. That young man has a great run going right now. Jamie, give us an update on the 6.
He absolutely does, but the team telling me now they will be about 10 laps short, so his pit crew getting ready, putting their helmets on, anticipating the 6 car coming down to make his final stop.
It is really right now a 2-car race. 12 seconds back in third is Reed Sorensen. Now Sorensen, another one of those cars that pitted last on lap 126. In fact, the top 3 are the ones that are lowest on fuel. And Doc, give us an update on the Mark Martin situation.
They have told Mark Martin, Marty, that he's about 2.5 to 2 1/4 laps shy on fuel. Mark said, I'm going to do everything I can to save fuel. And DJ, my question is, as a driver, does he have enough time to save that much fuel?
Yeah, if they let him know that from the very beginning, Doc, he will be able to do that. And Mark Martin is very good with the gas, staying off the brake. So it makes a big difference when you have a veteran like that. Jamie?
And Reed Sorensen, the 30, in for service, right sides, and 1 can of fuel only is the call. Ricky Stenhouse, the 6th car, is coming down this time as well.
Stenhouse just made the entry onto pit road. So did Carl Edwards. So they are coming down together, making their way for the last stop. And 45 miles an hour seems so slow right now under green flag conditions when you were the race leader and 2nd place. Jamie.
And Mike Kelly, the crew chief, warning Ricky Stenhouse, do not speed right now. This is when it counts. Right sides only, down and away. Vince.
Carl Edwards, right side tires and track bar adjustment, and 3.5 seconds of fuel. Just enough for Carl to snug it up just a bit. The 2 of Elliott Sadler has also had a good day today, but they've been working on it. He says he needs to go back on that last wedge adjustment. It's too tight on the start of the run. 2 tires and fuel for Elliott Sadler.
Speeding penalty for Mike Bliss, too fast exiting, but he was already 1 lap down. That's going to ruin any chance of him getting back on the lead lap. Brad Keselowski inherits the race lead. He becomes our 5th different leader, and the man who just did not say die all weekend long has not given up, finds himself in the catbird seat. Now he, Mark Martin, Justin Allgaier, and Danica Patrick now running in the top 4, all pitted at lap 140 or lap 141, and so did Trevor Bayne in 5th. So if this stays green, one of those 5 is going to take home the trophy. You heard the call from the spotter. 10 laps remaining. Keselowski's lead over Mark Martin is 2.3 seconds, guys.
You know, Mark can't really push the issue right now because he just doesn't have enough fuel. Having been told he has to save a couple of laps in this run.
Even though he's saving, still manages to get around the slower traffic. The 28 of Derek Cope. Cope is 26th right now, 10 laps off the lead.
Yeah, and this is allowed because Mark having to do that. Just what you said, Brad's able to kind of soft pedal it a little bit too. Make sure that he's able to stay in control and save a little bit of fuel also.
His crew chief Todd Gordon sounded pretty confident though about their fuel situation. So Brad doesn't sound like he's in near as bad a situation as Mark.
He just ran a 31.6 last lap, a 31.7 this lap. The race leader Keselowski a 31.9, so he's not backed off.
Well, but Brad got into some traffic right there. That's why he was a little bit more. So they have slowed down. You know, they were running 31.3s and 4s, so they've slowed up 3 or 4 tenths just trying to save a little bit.
Well, we're at the bottom of the hour. You're looking at our race leader with 8 laps to go. Brad Keselowski, he's our 5th different leader. We've had a total of 10 lead changes. His lead is 2.1 seconds over Mark Martin, who has been told by his crew he is short on fuel. In 3rd is Justin Allgaier. In 4th is Danica Patrick with her best run ever in the Nationwide Series. In 5th is Trevor Bayne, our Daytona 500 winner. It has been an interesting and exciting day, and if you've missed any of it, don't change the channel now.
Well, it's just an incredible story how Danica Patrick has run today. I mean, it's just, you know, the fact she's got a good break here, able to make it on fuel, but she has driven this car back on the lead lap, up into the top 10. And Tony Eury Jr. right there making great decisions on the pit box.
At one point, she was 2 laps down. Stayed out for the wave around, then got the lucky
car up there in front of Danica is going to be the black car on the high side up there. He's down a cylinder, I believe, there. So let's keep an eye on him. No pressure to Bruce. Keep your marks right on that bottom.
Spotter giving her all the information that she needs.
Well, the information was that Elliott Sadler may be down a cylinder up in front of her about a half straightaway or so.
Keep an eye open for that, as Sadler is 1 lap down now in 13th position. We have a total of 11 cars on the lead lap. Best finish ever by a woman, 5th. Sarah Christensen back in 1949. 5 laps remaining. Danica could make another page of history in her racing career. Brian Scott has peeled off. He is making his way down pit road, so he is out of fuel or needs fuel. He last pitted on lap 132. That man right there, Brad Keselowski, last pitted on lap 140.
Let's get down to the end here. Just less than 4 laps to go.
I need to be saving fuel or anything here.
I was kind of wondering that too.
We are good. You got too much gas in the thing.
The lead is 2.7 seconds right now between Brad Keselowski and the all-time winningest driver in NASCAR Nationwide Series history. That man right there, Mark Martin.
There's the big if there. Mark Martin doesn't know that he can make it. He's been trying to, I'm sure, trying to save fuel because he's been told. He's going to try to stretch it and make it to the end.
Justin Allgaier running in third, and there you see him. He is coming hard. Then Danica Patrick is in fourth, Trevor Bayne in fifth. Next time by, there will be 2 laps remaining. The gap is now 2.2 seconds between first and second. Danica is 14 seconds behind the race lead.
Yeah, there you go. Just use the bottom here. South. Clear. All clear. Car's on 7 cylinders. Beware. Down a cylinder.
Brad Keselowski. What a day. What a story. This whole weekend. They started.
You gotta be kidding me.
They started with a crash, and they have been fighting their way back. But Mark Martin, there he is. Look out.
Hey, something wrong with the
Keselowski's out of fuel. He's up into the wall.
Got a flat tire.
Flat tire.
Get around here.
Mark Martin takes over the lead. Mark Martin, who said he didn't have enough race car underneath him. And you said, DJ, don't believe him. When he says that, he usually ends up winning. And here he comes. He's going to extend that all-time mark. Mark Martin comes down to win here in Las Vegas.
He won, man. We won, dude.
Are you kidding me?
Wow. Second place, Justin Allgaier. And the question will be, where does Danica Patrick finish in this? Because third place is Brad Keselowski. And coming across the stripe with her career best finish, Danica Patrick in fourth. Trevor Bayne fifth. Our pole sitter Carl Edwards sixth. Denny Hamlin and Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah, you won, man.
I can't believe
it. Turner Motorsports.
14 drivers are less than half the age of our race winner that were in this field today.
It's 2 races in a row. Brad Keselowski's blown that right front, though.
This one he did manage to finish. The other 2 he did not. You know, when I first heard him say, "Are you kidding me?" it was like, holy smokes, we made it, you know, after all the adversity. And then all of a sudden we saw him slow and then head to the wall.
Yeah, I saw Mark Martin really gaining on him, so I thought maybe that Brad was having some fuel issues at that time. Then as he got down to turn 1 and it wouldn't turn.
Absolutely unreal.
Wow, how this race changed. I mean, from Kyle Busch dominating early, and then Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards going at it.
Mark Martin's last 3 Nationwide Series wins.
Congratulations, friends, and everybody.
Right here. March of 05, 08, and now 2011. And he stretches his all-time win mark to 49.
That'll add another race or 2 to Kyle's quest at trying to pass Mark Martin.
This is the second win for Trent Owens, crew chief for Mark Martin.
Can you hear the crowd out there? They got their money's worth in this one, and they're loving it. Just listen. So Mark extends his record book. Brad Keselowski extends his frustration for 2011 in the Nationwide Series. And Danica Patrick rewrites the page for herself. Let's talk to the winning crew chief. How about it, Doc?
Trent Owens was sweating bullets. Now tell us honestly what was going through your mind. You told your driver you were 2.5 laps shy on fuel, and you won this race.
Yeah, you know, we kind of got in the wall, so we needed to pit, look at our tires, and So we're only 5 laps short, but Pitt had got enough fuel to make it to the end, and Mark did a great job saving the fuel there. So I just can't say enough about this Dollar General team. I'm so happy for the guys. You know, they make my job easy. I'm only as good as the people around me. So thankful to Mark Martin, Dollar General, for being a part of this deal, and we're going to celebrate tonight.
Hey, go to Victory Lane and celebrate there. Trent Owens, the winning crew chief. And how about some NASCAR history, Jamie?
And Danica Patrick getting hugs all around her crew, everybody that stood behind you, girl. What a difference a year makes. What was the difference today for you?
Just, you know, we worked so hard on the car this weekend. We went from loose to tight to loose to tight with the same setup at times. So we worked really hard, and we did have a lot of practice time, which was good. It kind of confused us along the way, but my car was really good to start. Missed those lucky dogs like 3 more times, and then finally got it. And I asked Tony if he'd tighten it up, take a swing at it, not a little one, and he did. And thank goodness, because I was a little tight to start, but it allowed me to be consistent at the end, and it was 31/8 every lap. And you know, I was just able to be cautious and not overdrive. And it didn't mean I wasn't getting sideways down in 3 and 4, but it was a good day for the GoDaddy car, good day for Junior Motorsports, and yeah, I was hoping for a top 10 today. That was my secret goal.
Well, Tony Eury Jr.
5, but we got a top 5.
Your crew chief told all of us he would have been disappointed if you didn't get a top 10. A lot of people go, really? Is that possible? Were you optimistic?
I was, because of last year, and then I didn't know what to expect coming into the race because I didn't, you know, qualifying wasn't perfect and practice was up and down, and so, you know, I thought, okay, we got a new car. Maybe we just need to figure something out, but, you know, hopefully we can learn something so both Eric and I will both be up there come the next mile and a half, and we can run it.
Do you realize you made history yet again, girl?
Well, you know, leading the lap at Daytona was good, and that was good history, but I said then that, you know, I'm hoping to make a lot more.
All right, I think a lot of people took notice. She finished 4th, the highest ever for a female in NASCAR. Marty?
All right, thank you, Jamie. And yes, it was a very interesting day for the 7 driver. All right, let's go to Victory Lane. This guy's been there 49 times. Vince, let's talk to him.
Going to be a big celebration here, I guarantee it, as Mark Martin gets to Victory Lane. He's familiar with this location, but this Turner Motorsports team will, as Trent Owens said, be celebrating tonight. Mark Martin's first run in the Turner Motorsports car leads his team to Victory Lane. I don't know if you're a gambler, my friend, but I think a lot of people are going to be playing the number 32 on the wheel tonight. Congratulations. How fortunate do you feel to be in Victory Lane considering the day you were having?
Well, Trent Owens, you know, deserves that one. All the credit for it. You know, he made the right calls, and, you know, the only chance we had was to save. I couldn't, you know, no other way. So I just decided I wasn't going to run out of gas. And then with 2 to go, I went ahead and stepped on it. I figured I was close enough I could run out if I would then. So thanks to Dollar General and this whole race team. It's so cool to see these guys get their first win, and it's just awesome. Turner Motorsports 1-2. Golly, that's a storybook ending for me.
What went through your mind when you saw that Keselowski had blown the tire and was going to the wall?
Well, he was slowing quite a bit, so you know, I knew that he was either having fuel trouble or something, so I went ahead and stepped on it and tried to catch up to him.
You had some contact, I believe, with Sadler. You guys had some issues throughout the day, the fuel. How surprised are you to have won this race, Mark?
I can't believe it. You can't win. I don't care how hard you try. You can't win these things. You just can't do it. And then when it's time, it just happens.
Well said. His last 3 nationwide victories have come here at Vegas, and boy, how sweet it is for the Turner Motorsports team, Marty. Victory number 1.
And a very well-deserved and very popular victory. Certainly with the fans that were here, you could hear them in the background as the celebration continues. Let's, as we head to commercial break, let's all go with our crew cam and let you see the celebration as they experienced it.
ESPN's
coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Expedia. The best travel tools are all in one place. Where you book matters. Expedia.
Well, came on the air here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway today, throwing all kinds of gambling cliches around. End result was an upset special. Mark Martin led one lap all race. It was the one that counted.
Hey, if you're going to lead one, lead the lucky one. That's the last one. That's what Mark Martin did. Great runs today, though, Alan. We saw Justin Allgaier get a good run. Brad Keselowski, who we thought was going to win this race, ended up in third.
Danica Patrick, fine finish in fourth place. Trevor Bayne, fifth. Carl Edwards in the lead until he had to make the late stop for fuel, wound up in sixth position. But Mark Martin celebrating in victory lane, holding the trophy after a tremendous win for Mark, adding to his career totals, 49th career victory in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Some other stories to follow up on as the fans begin to file out post-race. We go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Alan. Last night, Justin Allgaier took his wife, Ashley, to celebrate their 5th anniversary to Paris, the Eiffel Tower, for dinner. And today, you almost took her to victory lane. So close, Justin. A great effort.
Thank you very much. You know, I can't say enough about everybody at Turner Motorsports and the Hendrick power under the hood. You know, these Chevys are running really good. I got to say thanks to Brant Monterey, because without them, I wouldn't be here doing this. And you know, they came on board. They had over 100 people here today. And to be able to go out and run that well, it just meant a lot. But I just can't say enough for what, you know, these guys are building, Nationwide Insurance does for the sport. I mean, this is the most fun series I think I've ever been around, and we were that close, man. If he'd have just run out of gas a little bit earlier, but great to see Mark in victory lane. I'll tell you, the guy has got a lot of knowledge, and he's really helping our team in general, and that's what it really comes down to. So got to congratulate him and all the Dollar General guys. They did a great job.
From about lap 5, I heard you comment, we're just dragging, we're bouncing that splitter, that front air dime on the track in turns 1 and turns 3, and you had a handful. How tough was that to hang on?
Well, as I just told you a minute ago, the problem was it wasn't when you were on the gas it was a problem. As soon as you would lift off the gas, it would pull the front tires off the ground. So you had to really try to work the throttle and the gas and the brake, and made it hairy a few times. I drove off into the corner and didn't get lifted early enough and about spun out and backed in the wall. But these guys made great pit adjustments. Jimmy Elledge made an awesome call there at the end to take fuel. And that was really ultimately what got us to the track position and the win, or the second, I guess, and the win for those guys as well.
A great run today.
Thank you very much, man.
Let's check in where Jamie is caught up with Trevor Bayne.
And Carl Edwards, 5th and 6th today. Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bayne. Of course, we're all going to call you that for the rest of the year and a long time to come. But Trevor, you had your work cut out for you today. What was exactly going on with the car, and how difficult was it to hang on for 5th?
We were really tight in practice on Friday, so we adjusted it to be freer, and we kind of went too far. And so the whole time I was just chasing it, thinking we were going to crash every lap. And I felt like a baby on the radio talking about it. I'm like, man, I'm going to crash this thing. And somehow there at the end, it just played out to be a fuel mileage race, and we pitted at the right time. You know, we made a lot out of nothing today. You know, we should have finished probably 10th, 12th, and bring home a top 5. It's a great point state for us in our Ford Mustang, so pretty pumped about all that.
Very strong day for your teammate here, Carl Edwards. Carl, you guys ended up having to come in and pit on 188. Did you realize how close you guys were on fuel at that point?
Yeah, I think we all realized it after the race. You know, seeing Mark win on fuel mileage, it's real frustrating for Mike Beam and I, but Mark deserves it. He's a guy who just had a lot of success out here. And the biggest thing we had going for us today is we have fast race cars, fast Ford Mustangs. Trevor, Ricky, myself, and we're looking for marketing partners for all 3 cars for races this year. So I feel like we have opportunity to go out and win a ton of races, and it's good in a way that we were so fast, but it's so frustrating to let a win slip away like that.
And could be a strong day for you guys tomorrow here. Ford's on the front 2 rows. Marty?
Well, Jamie, thanks. We'll take it over here in the pit studio, and capturing this shot in the background while you were talking to Carl kind of captured my attention. Penske Racing Team looking over the right front corner of that 22 car that led the race at the white flag, but not at the checkers.
Well, I tell you what, Brad K came from out of nowhere. We were just talking about him, how he's had a tough day, a tough week in this Nationwide Series, and had taken the lead, was going to walk away and win this thing. Right front tire goes down, and that was all she wrote.
Hoping to get a word with Brad Keselowski before we leave the air on the disappointment, the day that he had in that 22 car. NASCAR Nationwide Series championship standings after the opening 3 races. It is Reed Sorensen, who wound up today not as well as he would like to have,
11th,
but decent.
Not bad.
After 2 fifth-place finishes to start the year, leading Ricky Stenhouse Jr. by a mere 2 points in NASCAR's new championship system.
I like it.
Jason Leffler, Danica Patrick, 3rd, 4th, and Justin Allgaier 5th as we head to the next race, which would be in Bristol, Tennessee in a couple of weeks. Denny Hamlin wound up 7th. He was running 2nd till a late pit stop, Vince.
7th place today for Denny Hamlin, a guy that was running up front much of the day. You had to come late for fuel. Seemed as though for a while it was going to be between you and Carl. Did you have anything for Carl if it would have come down to that?
Well, it's tough. I mean, once I saw we weren't going to win the race, I backed off just in case a caution came to try to save tires. But we were so equal. He was a little bit better than me in the long run, and but for the most part, that's part of racing. You got to have the right fuel strategy, the right everything go the right way, and just didn't do it. But Adam, got to say thanks to him and a whole Interstate Batteries team. This is a new team that gets formed over the offseason. We're trying to make it better.
Yeah, well done. Denny Hamlin, top 10 today, 7th place. Not what he wanted, but a good, strong run.
Vince, thanks, and the photos will go on for some time. Tell you, one of the coolest things I saw from the checkered flag when we were interviewing Trent Owens, the crew chief on that 32 car, I believe I saw Todd Braun, the man who formed this team, nurtured it until selling it last fall to its current owner, the Turners, here at the racetrack, and able to share and see the people who worked for him until not that long ago celebrate a win today.
Yeah, Todd laid the footprint for this organization, and he is a big part of this victory. Congratulations to Turner Motorsports. What a way to get their ownership efforts off to a great start.
Mark Martin, Trent Owens doing the hat dance, taking home the souvenirs. He'll take home the trophy as well after winning today, and the season just getting underway for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Talk about contrasts. From the high speed, never let off the gas, mile and a half in Vegas.
Let's get it on, boys.
To the Bristol Bull Ring in a couple of weeks for a great race that you'll see on March 19th. Then out to the 2-mile track in Fontana, California, Texas Motor Speedway. That's a Friday night race this year, and Talladega. Tickets to all of those races available by going on to NASCAR.com/tickets or calling that number. Hope you join us at the track, and make sure you join us for our coverage on the television of what is turning into a pretty interesting Nationwide Series season so far. Jamie has a follow-up for us on a story we've been keeping up with. Jamie?
And Todd Gordon is the crew chief on the 22. First year working together with Brad Keselowski. He just told me, we've had a lot of luck this year. It's just all been bad. Take us through what exactly happened before the white flag there.
We were about 4 to 5 laps to good in fuel, and he came on with 2 to go, said, do I need to save anything? I said, no, you're good. Must have run something over. We'd run 2 fuel runs on right sides, and that was just a fuel run. We'd come and take 2 rights and fuel it there with whatever it was, 65 to go or whatever. But we were good on fuel and good on, hadn't seen any wear issues. We just must have run something over. Got a flat coming to the white flag. Came off to turn 4. He called. We had a flat right front. So rolled it around to 3rd place. Hey, it's from where the weekend started, it's a great finish for the weekend. We were tough right off. Thursday we had our issues, and we recovered. And thought it was going to be a real good recovery, but bad luck's just been following us this year. We'll be all right, though.
Perhaps leaving Vegas, the luck will turn around for the 22 team. Alan?
Jamie, thanks. Bad luck catching up with the 22 car coming to the white flag, but they had a couple of other close calls during the day that worked in their favor. Brad Keselowski having to dodge a couple of incidents here at Las Vegas over the course of our 300-mile race. Keselowski, remember, got a pit road speeding penalty early, set him back in traffic, then had to miss this that could have been big.
Donnie Neuenberger gets sideways, and he gets just barely into the back end of Reed Sorensen.
Then the big moment of the day, Kyle Busch cutting low to make a 3-wide pass. Keselowski moves to the left, then moves to the right. Kyle catches the grass, spins around, hits the inside wall. Kyle Busch led the most laps of the race, but did not wind up winning. He wound up finishing in 30th position. Fuel mileage came into play late. Danica Patrick came back from a lap down a couple of times, and the strategy and a good car worked in her favor.
Finally got lucky and got on the lucky dog, got her lap back. She did an outstanding job of saving fuel, raced very smart throughout traffic, and pushed her way up to the front.
Said beginning the season this year that the experience coming back to a lot of these tracks for a second time would play in her favor. She's obviously off to a pretty solid start so far this year. Mark Martin got forced up into the wall, straightened up his car, forced a pit stop that he didn't really want to make, which ended up giving him the fuel to make it to the finish without stopping again. And when Brad Keselowski had his problems, Mark Martin led the only lap he led all race long, the one where they waved the checkered flag.
Right place, right time. Elliott Sadler earlier got up into him a little bit. I thought his day was done. The old veteran kept digging, and there he is in victory lane. 3rd
straight Las Vegas Nationwide Series race. Mark Martin has entered that he's won. The men who called it are 3 in the booth: Marty Reed, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie. Gentlemen.
Well, and we're thinking about what happened with Mark Martin and Elliott Sadler. You remember, he was not happy with Elliott when he did get into him and cut him off just a little bit, forcing him up into the wall. But misfortune turned into fortune, because if that doesn't happen, he's in that 126 lap bunch that would have had to stop.
Yeah, sometimes you just never know if things work to your favor. You were asking me a while ago if did things like that ever happen to me. I think you don't remember the good fortune that did. You remember the times that it went against you more than anything else. But we've all been in that situation to where we had to make an extra pit stop, and it did work out for us. I did that. I really did it at Martinsville, Virginia one time. We were planning on not pitting anymore. Got a bad set of tires, made bad adjustment, made it all work, and then came back and won the race. So you have to have those things to stay in this business, Andy. You'd go crazy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but you also have to be good. I mean, Mark Martin was a bulldog all day long. He had to keep that car in contention, and he was doing that. And then this break just kind of fell in their lap. They did make a change on that pit stop. They put a spring rubber in the left rear, made his car a lot better. So, you got to give a lot of credit to Mark Martin. Even though it was a fuel mileage win, he kept the car in contention, kept it in one piece when a couple times it could have actually gotten wadded up. So I think you really have to give Mark a lot of credit.
Let's also give some credit to 6 nationwide drivers. 6 out of the top 10 are nationwide only, championship-eligible drivers, and that's what this series has been looking for, and these guys knocked on the door a little bit harder today.
And girls.
Yeah,
Danica Patrick drove an incredible race, in my opinion. I watched her. She just about like Mark Martin. She stayed in that thing and drove it hard all day, and her break finally came. She got that lap back. And then, she's able to make it on fuel. And
she did that, and he did a great job. And Kenny Wallace with another top 10 2 weeks in a row. Fantastic job by him.
Well, let's hear from the man who calls the shots on that number 7 car. How about it, Jamie Little?
Well, Tony Eury Jr. here, and Johnny Benson, Danica Patrick's new driver coach. I'm going to ask you both a quick question. Tony, you called it out. You said top 10 or bust. You would be disappointed without that. Here you are, top 5. How did you know it?
I mean, we've been really consistent. The finishes haven't shown it last year and beginning of the year, but it's pretty easy for her to run in the top 15. And the way she ran here at the beginning of last year and the way she finished off at Homestead, it was like, man, if we get everything right, we can run top 10 with this girl really easy. And, we lucked up and got some fuel strategy, went our way and got us to top 5. But, we would have really been disappointed if we would have walked out of here without a top 10.
Well, Johnny Benson, we don't have time. We're going off the air right now, but great job by him. Of course, Camping World Truck Series champion. He guided her around this racetrack today, guys.
All right, Jamie, thank you very much. As the celebration will continue long into the night here at Las Vegas, and this is the city that never sleeps, and I guarantee you the Turner Motorsports crew is not going to be sleeping at all. So as we get ready to say farewell, we'll remind you that we're off this coming week, and then we're on to the fastest half mile in motorsports, the Bristol Motor Speedway. It's always a must-see. It's our NASCAR Nationwide Series event from Bristol, Saturday, March 19th. Will be on ESPN at 1 o'clock Eastern. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, it's ABC News, World News, or your local news over most of these ABC stations. Congratulations once again to Mark Martin for our entire ESPN on ABC crew. I'm Marty Reed. Till we meet again.
Yeah, good job being smart with these guys. Some of them, I don't think they know where they're going. So you go straight for a little while, then you take a left.